That guy got fucked. Fucking karma, bro. A cooler. But isn't there a refrigerator in this game, though? There's a refrigerator. Refrigerator. That's a refrigerator. 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 I knew it. There is a refrigerator in this game.
There's like a custom night after this you can do, like a challenge one. Fucking hell. Oh my goodness.
I got no clue where we're supposed to be going.
Bossy Jam says Yowie Chich Coffee Angel.
Coffee Angel. It didn't really work out, huh? Oh shit, the avatar roll. Okay, is this good? And you go sleep. Maybe. Raise me up.
Hello, we are here. sorry
Here
about
we are.
sorry about my little hiccup, guys. I'm so sorry. 13 weeks. That's the first time I've messed it up. Coffee is a vibe, guys. Welcome in, and this is the wonderful Coffee. I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, this is Kit Conversations, week 13. Coffee's link is pinned to the top of the page, so please make sure you drop him a follow because he's awesome. And we've started off the day already with some rabbis. You get the
And I love them.
You go love them. Yeah, I think everybody does.
Yeah. Now they even make clips. They've evolved.
They're making clips.
Yeah, they make clips with the link. You might want to check if there's some you wanna delete.
Oh my goodness, they get banned pretty fast in here. So
yeah,
I'll have to have a look. Anyway, let's get started. So we're just going to start off with gaming in general. Like how did you start gaming? How old were you? What's your kind of gaming journey?
Well, okay, so way back in the day. So I grew up in the countryside, and my there was a bunch of little families with their kids who had their jobs, and all the kids would have been alone in their houses, and we didn't have like a kindergarten nearby. So my mom used to be I don't know what it's called in English, but like we had a bunch of kids in our house throughout the day while their parents were at work. So we kind of had like a kindergarten basically at our home, and I was just like a little bit older than all of those kids, and when they went to sleep, I would game on my PlayStation 2 that my parents got me, and my very first game was Rayman 3, I think. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, and the first game I ever bought for me was Sly Cooper 3. back in the day on PlayStation, and then then it just evolved. First it was PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and eventually I started with laptop and went to build my own PC, and it was just a snowball. And now we're here.
Yeah.
Now
Okay.
we're here.
Love that. I love that. So
Yeah.
So how did you start streaming? How did it go from a gaming as a hobby to streaming?
Well, basically, okay. So as you heard, I've been gaming my whole life, and I've watched a lot of streams, but for the longest time I kind of wanted to make content, but I didn't really know what to do. And then a year ago, I did not make it into school. I applied for med school for 4 years, and at the end of my last application for med school, I kind of had a little thought about life and what I actually want to do with my life. And I was thinking, am I going for med school because I wanna actually treat people, or am I going to med school because I want to make people proud and be able to tell people that I'm a doctor? And
Fair.
I was pretty sure I was going there just for other people, not for myself. And I realized I like gaming, I like computers, I like machines. So I kind of changed the trajectory of my life. I went from applying to med school to applying for engineering, and I just started streaming on Kick. I looked at all of the streaming sites, and I started on Kick. That was my first ever content on the internet. Was okay. I may have made something very small. The main thing where I actually started to make content was streaming on Kick, and at first it was kind of like a joke, like, "Yo, Coffee is gonna be a streamer, wow!" And I started streaming, and like my couple of first streams, there were a couple of my friends, chatting up, and then I saw a couple of randoms, and I was like, "Wait, this is actually fun!" Absolute randoms coming in and saying like, "Yo, man, you're a vibe. How have I never heard about you? You have 3 viewers," and I was like, "Hey, this is fun." And then it just became a thing, and here I am a year later.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what made Kick your choice? When you were deciding to start streaming, Kick was a year ago. Did you say? So when did you start exactly? Was it?
June 30th, I think, was my first stream in last year.
Okay.
I believe. If the date's not right, it's around the summer
really
of last
close,
year.
Really close to the same time as me. I got affiliated on June the 19th, and I think I'd been streaming like a week. So very close to the same time as me. So Kick was a very new platform. So what was it that made you choose Kick?
Well, basically, at first I was like, obviously it's Twitch. I watch Twitch. Twitch is the big thing. Twitch is where I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna stream on Twitch. But then I'm kind of an analyst kind of guy. So I watch a lot of videos, and I realized that Twitch is just so like full of content creators already. I went to look at like all of the channels that had 0 viewers, and I was like, I'm just gonna be in there, absolute nobody with them, and I'm never gonna stand out. And then I looked at Kick, and I was like, there's stuff that I'd like to do, and nobody's doing it. There's one channel streaming Among Us, and I love Among Us. Why won't I stream on Kick instead? It seems like a good platform for me and for small creators, and it's new, and I'm new to streaming, so why not grow my content creation while the site grows itself? And I never looked back. I did multi-stream for a month on Twitch, but I never went back to it.
Yeah. Okay, so what was your initial thoughts on Kick as a platform when you started streaming here?
Well, at first I was very like questioning Kick a lot. So I saw the videos, and everybody was like, Kick seems like the best like platform for new creators, because it like actually pushes like smaller creators out there and shows them around. And at first I was like, okay, I saw the drama, all of the like talk about, bad creators, bad IRL streamers, and I was like, oh, this is just the same that I've seen on Twitch. Sometimes it happens. It's just individuals, and like I'm not really. Of course, there was talk about the like gambling side of Kick, but I was like, if I don't gamble, does it matter really? And I don't know, everything just seemed to be for me on Kick instead of on Twitch, and I felt like if I wanted to grow on a streaming platform, it made sense for me for it to be Kick instead of Twitch. I felt like if I had a following somewhere else, then maybe I would have started on Twitch, because then I would have had people to pull in from somewhere else. But I had nothing. I had 5 socials with 0 followers, and I started from scratch.
That's amazing.
And I was like, I just wanna take it with Kick and see how it goes. And I've been very happy so far, at least.
That's awesome. So what do you think are now that you've been here a year and you're kind of settled in, what do you think are the best parts, the most positive things about Kick?
Well, obviously I think it's like Kick staff, for me at least. Like it's just, they're so interactive, so nice, so easy to deal with. And it's like, so when I started multi-streaming, my very first stream I got botted on Twitch. Not on Kick, but on Twitch.
Oh no.
And I sent my email like, hey, I got follow botted. Can you do something about it? And I never got an email back. And it was kind of it made me realize that I've dealt with Kick stuff before and botting before. I had been streaming like, I don't know, 4 months at that point. And they had always responded to me and quickly. And I was like, it just felt like they were taking their like platform and their smaller creators so much more serious, and like actually like, interacting with the not just the top 0.1% of their streamers, and actually helping their like community to grow and working on their like platform. And while some people might be like, it's just for for stake, just to like promote gambling, I feel like Twitch seems like they're more about the money to me, because they only want to support the people who bring the money in, while Kick actually promotes a streamer like me, who probably don't make a penny for Kick right now, but they want to see me grow and like make it big as somebody who's absolutely nobody, and that's just absolutely amazing.
100% agree with absolutely everything you're saying, and I've said it quite a few times that what's one of the main reasons I started up this podcast is because it's all with the whole negative press that you spoke about, all the bad stuff that you hear all the time, and the fact that you can go on TikTok and type in kick.com and you see, apart from like big quite clickbaity Aiden Ross videos, the only other stuff you see is negative stuff. And I'm like, I've been here a year now as well, and that stuff's never come near me. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't change. I don't, the gambling and the bad stuff doesn't affect the day to day, and the community and the people here are just incredible. And I wanted to show that to as many people as possible. So I thought this was talking about it, like having honest conversations about the platform was a good way to do that. So I totally agree.
Yes, for sure. And I feel like also a lot of the time the mass of the people who hate on Kick are like people who've never opened Kick or never checked out any of the smaller creators or what the community is like. They maybe, if they watched Kick, they watched XQC and Aiden Ross, and maybe Eddie, like they've like scratched the surface, and that's it. And all they see about Kick is all of the like negative stuff that's just like the clickbaity little clips of like singular creators. And I've said this on Twitter a few times. Like there was like a few weeks ago, there was, I don't remember what happened, but on Twitch there was a IRL streamer who did something absolutely horrible and they got banned. And my initial thought was like, nobody's talking about the fact that it happened on Twitch. No. But if this was on Kick, it would have been Kick's fault that this happened.
100%.
If it's on Twitch, it's a bad individual.
Yes.
But on Kicks, there can't be bad individuals. It's always the bad platform behind
Kick streamers
promoting all this stuff,
Yeah. And we all get tarred with the same brush. For some people, if you say you stream on Kick, then that's instantly what they think of. And I'm just like, no, it doesn't work like that. But no, I totally agree. I do think that the tide is starting very slowly the tide is starting to change. People are starting to see, but it's a long haul, and it's really frustrating. I said it last week. I have a really, really close friend on Twitch who does a podcast. She just started up something where she interviews streamers on Twitch. And I popped in to watch to support her, and there was a Twitch streamer that I've known. I have connections with Twitch, as everyone knows. I stream there as a separate thing with my best friend twice a week. It's a hobby stream. We've been doing it for 3.5 years, and I adore it. And for what we do over there, Twitch works for me. For being a full-time content creator, like what I want to do with Lazy Panda, Twitch, I would never be Twitch. By the way, I digress. I nipped into this podcast and I was listening, and somebody had brought up Kick, and another Twitch streamer who I've known for a long time, not well, just known of her, was in the chat and turned around and said that Kick is just a cesspit, and all the streamers who stream there are scum, and this, that, and the next thing. And I'm like, hang on a minute, you've known me, you've known of me. I never said a bad word against me, but without even dipping your toe in the water, you will say things that are that vile about an entire platform of streamers. When the reality is there's like 2% of people doing dodgy shit, and then 98% of people who are absolutely incredible and just want to grow a community and are enjoying being appreciated on a platform.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating, but we just got to keep doing us.
Yeah, and I kind of find it weird that Kick's in this like specific position, because there's been and there are other like streaming platforms. So Mixer was a thing, and Rumble is a thing, and I never saw like any like incentive on joining those platforms, because they didn't really do anything like very much different. They just tried to be Twitch but small, I felt like. But I feel like Kick's like actually trying to change the game and having like stuff to like, okay, yeah, Mixer, I don't know a lot about Mixer, so I can't really speak on that. But when I was looking at the platforms, it was like YouTube streaming, Twitch streaming, TikTok, and Kick, and Rumble. And out of all of those, I was like, okay, so I like TikTok, but I don't have the followers to like stream there. There's Twitch, which is very big, and everybody is already on there, so there's that incentive, and it's like the platform's like already set up, and it's all polished and good.
The viewers are there as well. That's the thing Twitch has got at the minute. They've got the viewers.
yeah, and it seems like they got all things figured out, because sometimes there's some tech issues with Kick still going on, and they're working on it. So the platform's still like on the baby stages, I feel like, but they've already taken like huge steps that are like, I feel like beyond what Twitch is doing, like KCIP, Kick picks, and all that stuff. But I feel like never really I heard from Mixer the same things I hear about Kick, and I don't know if it's only the gambling side that really gave Kick the image that a lot of people have, or was it just like certain big creators who were mad that maybe they didn't get a Kick stream deal, or they didn't like something that happened on Kick, and then they like kept talking bad about Kick and never really looking into it, how they're trying to change, how they're growing, how they're making it better, and how they are like actually tightening the like TOS at all times,
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
They just don't like change, because I mean Kick is all about making change. They want to rock the streaming world and make big wave, and they are making big waves. They came in with the 95-5 split, which is massive, and everyone else in the streaming world said, oh, you'll never that, how are they going to sustain that? There's no way they can do that, and they've proved a year and a half later that they absolutely can sustain that, and they can keep growing, and they can do even more for their communities by giving out 400 subs a week to 4 different streamers on KickPicks. KCIP, they're showing that they're really showing up, the likes of Twitch and even TikTok, who take 50% of your streaming gifts and things like that. They're showing that you can grow a platform that is successful without taking a massive cut of the money that your creators make with their content. And I think that there's a lot of other platforms and streamers are a little threatened by that. Once they started to realize, oh, maybe this is not another flyby, that this is going to be around for 6 months to a year and then flop. This might be here to stay, and that, I think that might be a little threatening to some people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's a year and a half old. People expect it to be too perfect. People don't define it. How they handle those situations defines Kick. I agree completely, Lordsy. 100,000,000% agree. It's so true, and people do, and they just become fodder in the media. It's just become a thing. And I feel that some of that, you spoke about why Kick gets it so much more than others, and I feel like a little bit of it, the bad shit does happen on all the other platforms, but especially in the earlier days, there was a lot less moderation here. Kick have always said they want people to have as much freedom as they can give them to create the content they want to create. So I feel like they've had to find a balance between giving people the complete creative freedom, but also kind of moderating that and being in there and taking action when things go too far. And they've had to find that balance. And I think because of that, a lot of bad shit did happen and wasn't instantly acted on, especially in the earlier days. And that just gave it that initial reputation for all this bad shit, and it just kind of snowballed. But all we can do is things like this, is keep talking about it, keep talking it. People make TikToks. Please, more people make TikToks about Kick and how awesome it is, because I am sick of clicking on that kick.com hashtag and not seeing enough positive stuff. Use Kick hashtags. Get us out there on TikTok, showing them this side of it. We just chat before we go on to the next one. Kick has done something different. Instead of treating its creators like the public, they treat them more like friends or colleagues. They see us. You feel seen here. Is one of the big things for me. You feel like I'm just a tiny drop in an ocean of other streamers who are all doing incredible things, and then something happens that makes you realize that actually they are watching and they do recognize hard work and good content. And then they spotlight that, and that's incredible. There's no other platforms doing that. Kick has been great for me. Met so many great people. Just a shame it lacks actual viewers, but that's something that'll come with time, Robin. That's the thing. The more it grows, the more people we can bring in, then the more viewers there'll be, because it is, there's no getting away from the fact that our communities are mostly made up with other streamers at the moment. There are some viewers out there, but the vast majority of viewers on Kick are streamers on Kick, which makes it a bit different, to Twitch and things. But we have to work on that ourselves too. That's the thing, that's not going to happen. Kick can only do so much, and they're doing a lot working on the platform. They're doing a lot to spotlight us, so the least we can do in return is whatever we can to bring in other people. They encourage multi-streaming to bring other people in. They encourage that. I know that when I stream on TikTok, I generally get at least one person come over without even trying too hard, because TikTok have quite strict rules about what you're allowed to say and like pulling people over to another one. But when I talk about Kick on my streams, just kind of casually, I quite often get people coming over to Kick as viewers from TikTok. On you go.
Yeah, I was kind of wanted to say that I agree with you on the fact that a lot of viewers on this platform right now are also creators, because I feel like Kick's made a really good environment for creators, and they are making it very good for viewers as well, and it's getting better and better and better. But also it is even on Twitch, the viewer base on Twitch originally is based on the creators who've grown the platform, and it's kind of up on to us to help Kick grow outside of only creators seeing us. A lot of we are blessed on getting on recommended, featured, being on front page and stuff like that, and it helps us grow. But we also have to bring in a lot of people from outside of Kick and help Kick grow. I feel like it's up to the creators to be able to grow on all around, and it's also really good for you, because I mean, you can never know if Kick goes under. What if your whole following is on Kick? They might not transfer over to wherever you go. Yeah. And you want to have the Discord, you want to have the YouTube, you want to have the TikTok, all of that, and just keep Kick as your, baseline, your base of operation, where everything is
it's home. Kick is home, but that doesn't mean that I can't be in other places. That's kind of how I look at it.
Exactly. And I see other platforms as an opportunity to grow myself on here. If I make a very long YouTube video, it's usually about it could be something that's not related to what I'm doing on Kick, but in a way it's advertisement for my Kick channel, because if I grow on YouTube, eventually people will see, oh, he's Kick streamer, and like move people over.
Yep.
And while there's stuff that Kick can do to bring in just viewers, like promote it everywhere, people see it everywhere, make the image better, and one thing I'm still waiting for so much is getting like what Twitch drops are as Kick drops, so for game keys, game items and stuff like that. But I've heard many times that it's on the works, but it's probably very hard to orchestrate.
Yeah, so that would be the public API, wouldn't it? I'm not very good at technology.
Yeah.
That's the API that will connect those things.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that they're working on. They said they'd released their roadmap. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter. Eddie put out a roadmap. I'll tag you in it later. You can have a look. And it had absolutely everything that they're going to be working on. And it was like the stuff that they've done, the stuff that they're working on now, and what they're going to work on next. It was really interesting actually. And API is right up there, and they are working on it now. It's something that they're doing, that they're getting close to finishing. They said. Yeah, it is a big thing. There's a lot. I feel like we as Kick streamers become very creative as to how we can build interaction in our streams. We're out there finding all the different bots and commands and different ways that we can have that engagement within the stream. But having the public API is going to be absolutely amazing. Like things like you said about drops and things, but like words on stream. I was doing one of my Twitch streams the other days and I was playing words on stream and I was like, oh, I wish I had this on Kick. Just those things. And the game Cult of the Lamb, I don't know if anyone's played that game. It's such a good little game, but you literally interact it with you can interact it with your Twitch chat. So like people in your Twitch chat can become characters in the game and they can like send you stuff in the game, and stuff like that is just out of this world. And we just lift it up. But until that comes into place, we make do with what's out there, and there's lots.
Yeah. But I also like. Yeah, go on.
No, you go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. One thing that I also think is I really love the transparency that Kick has, because most of the top guys, they stream and you can go talk to them. You can pitch your ideas. For example, Santa Maria, his chat isn't crazy like Eddie's, for example. Eddie might not see anything you say because the chat just flies like Aiden Ross XQC. But if you go to watch Santa Maria, you can just ask him a question and he'll actually read it out and he'll answer you. And he, most of the time, if you're a creator, he'll check you out also and see what you're doing. And he gets to know the community around there. He checks what's on featured. But what I like the most is he'll listen to the ideas and he'll write them down and he'll let know okay, I'm letting the development team know that people want this. People on chat are thinking this is a great idea. Let's do this. And you can just go pitch them ideas and they'll see what they can do with them. And they'll tell you okay, we have something like that going on. And we are gonna try to implement that. And OBS is gonna potentially have a Kick settings menu and stuff like that. And I feel also it really gives a feeling that they care, because I feel even if you're one of the biggest creators on Twitch, you can't really affect too much how the platform itself is. And we as creators have the power in our hands to help the community to mold into what we want it to be, and show Kick what the platform should be in our heads. And also I like it if we do something creative, if we do something what other people don't do on Kick, and what we haven't seen on streaming, we do something unique that Kick notices that and helps us grow and shows us that you are doing something good and we want to see more of that. Keep doing what you're doing and promote you. And I think it's great. And it feels kind of special to be the part, to be here at this stage, to be a part of Kick from what were we, 7 months after they started, and to be a part of it from that stage and see how much it's gonna grown already and how much it's gonna grow. It's kind of special to be a part of it in its infancy, because I truly think it's going to be around for a very long time, and it's going to change. It's going to change the whole industry. So it's exciting. Yeah, for sure. I agree.
I'm just going to check some comments. I think it's refreshing that you have streamers supporting streamers on the platform, and other streamers have been amazing. Yeah, it is, and it's something I love about Kick as well, in comparison to other platforms that I have streamed on and other people have spoken on streaming about is how much streamers support other streamers here, and how much we are happy to share our communities and merge our communities and be there for each other, and there's not as much kind of gatekeeping of your community, or trying to like worrying that if you shout someone out you're going to lose all your followers. We're like, no, go and see these people, they're amazing, that, because it's such a positive way to build a community, because it's all love and it's all genuine, and we grow together and all that.
Yeah. And I feel like that kind of mindset isn't really present on at least the creators that I've seen on Twitch. I'm not like very present on any smaller channels anymore, but I feel like it's hard to find that kind of channels on Twitch, because when I was multi-streaming, I already had the few channels that like I supported and they supported me and shared the communities with, and I like extended after that. But like I tried to find something similar on Twitch, and I was like, ain't nobody doing that on Twitch. They're all about like keep my little bubble to me, and my viewers are my viewers, and I'm gonna keep them, and I don't want your viewers here. I don't want to share mine with you. And it's like it feels like they are just trying to do their own little thing and keep everybody else as far away as possible.
Like that's like gatekeeping, isn't it? You can't. I mean, you can't gatekeep a community. You can't build a community and then build a fence, like a barbed wire fence around it. That's just the opposite of what community is about. And I think you're right. I don't think it's as present. I think there's pockets of it on Twitch. I certainly know some creators who are part of communities who are very community focused. I think it does exist on Twitch, sorry, in pockets and smaller areas. But overall, I think it doesn't. And it's certainly like we've had some people who came from Facebook streaming, on conversations, and it certainly didn't exist there. Quite the opposite. They were very, very protective of their community, and you didn't do shout outs. They didn't even like you on Facebook, because obviously on Facebook you have your personal profile and then you have your page, and most streamers over there didn't even like you to come into the chat using your profile, using your like streaming profile, because they saw that as self-promotion. Some people would ask people to go and use their personal profile. I was like, to that extent of and then you come to Kick, and everybody, you can literally just click on someone's name and go to their stream. But on Facebook, they were like, no, you can't chat here with your gaming name. It's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm catching up. I don't see Kick crashing anytime soon. Kick is home, but you can have holiday homes too. Yes, true. Much love, Nobber. Love you, Nobber. That's Death Dragon. Here watching you guys. Love you, Coffee Man. Good to see you. It honestly feels so good to stream. Sir Hopi. I've been only streaming a couple of months after being encouraged to try streaming. When I first started streaming, I got such a warm welcome, met so many amazing people. That actually got me out of a lonely mindset I was in and helped me out of a bad spot. Oh, Hopi, I love to hear that. It's such a positive thing. And I know we spoke about viewers versus streamers watching us, and how we need to pull over as many viewers as we can. I'm finding that a lot of the time when we're pulling viewers over, they end up streaming.
Yes.
And I know some people see that as a negative, because you bring them over hoping they're going to watch your stream, and then they end up streaming themselves, so they're not around so much to watch you. But I just see it as a positive. You're coming here, and we're doing such a good job of showing them how awesome Kick is, that they decide they want to be a part of it too. And the more streamers we've got coming over here and hitting affiliate, the bigger the platform gets. The better it is. So.
Yeah, in the big picture, it's actually like helping out the platform to grow, therefore helping you to grow. Like if you think about it, if you bring people in who become streamers, who bring more people in, if you're on the front page, there's more people watching already, therefore you're gonna have more exposure, and it's like, it's just a good thing. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's all positive, that's all positivity. If you bring someone in and you help them, from a personal growth sense of your channel. If you bring someone over from TikTok, for example, and they hang out in your stream a bit, and then they decide to stream, and then you help them promote and you help them hit affiliate and you're there to support them at the beginning, then they're always going to remember you. You know, you're always going to remember those people that help you get to affiliate because it means something and they're people that genuinely care, and that's what builds a community. Even if it's somebody who now streams and only pops into your stream every so often, you know, that's still somebody who knows what you're about and respects what you do and wants to be a part of your community. It's all positive. It's all positive. Okay.
I feel when I hit affiliate, a lot of the people were like checking out Kick just like I was, and a lot of those people are now out of Kick. But sometimes they'll like pop in to say hi to me, and I'm like, oh my god, that's one of the first people who ever followed me like that, and that person from a year ago. It's so cool to see you, and nice to hear what they're doing. And I feel like there's a special bond between the very first people who, you know, discovered your stream. When you were just, you know, trying everything out and had no clue what was going on. At least for me on Kick, because I started content creation here, so we've gone miles ahead from where it started.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get that as well. Like for me, it was the one that's still in the community really that helped was Average Shad. It was Shad that I met, and there was another couple of streamers who their communities all pulled together and pushed me to affiliate when they met me, like really quickly. Like they met me and like that was it exploded. They were all sharing and following and it just popped off. So not only do I have that respect for Shad, he's become one of my best friends in the whole world, and a lot of his community obviously did that and are now part of my communities, and yeah, it's something really special. And it feels, I genuinely, like, it feels so good to get someone else there. I'm such a sop, I'm such a sappy git. I love that feeling of helping people. And my kid came in and laughed at me because obviously I told my kid about me getting kick pics and how, you know, how I cried on stream and etc. etc. And then they came in the door one day, and I'm sitting here looking at the monitor crying, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, my friend Blue just got kick pics," and they're like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "I don't know, I'm just so happy for her." Like, and it takes you back, you know. I just love helping people, and especially when you find those special ones that are genuine, and you can see straight off the bat that they're gonna be incredible people to hang around. You know, when you get those vibes, when you can help those people achieve things, it's just the best feeling. Like a drug. Give me more.
And I really always go about it the way that, like, when I see people do like stuff for me, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so nice that some people raids me, or, you know, they're talking about me or whatever, and then or they're chatting it up someday and they're very active with me, and I really want to be the way to other people that makes me feel really nice, to be like the chatter sometimes, you know, rate the people who are maybe having a bad day, or just creators who I like, or somebody who's really close to something. They're like, you know, you're the 5 away, like average away from being able to apply for verified and all that stuff, you know. Just, you know, all of, like, just try to support everybody the way you would want to be supported is the way I love to think about it, and like actually like be nice to people and be very active to them. And of course, when you have the time, when you can do it, like do it. But like I very, very much like try to give what I would love to be given. And also I feel like always understand that everybody can't give something back to you, and don't expect to support somebody just to get something back, but actually genuinely just support people, and don't just expect you're getting something back.
That's such a good, I'm going to write it down though so we can come back to it, because I want to catch up on these. But the support for support thing is such a good topic. But I'm going to get through some more of these comments just now. So Smith Zero Logie said, it's not negative at all. This is about viewers coming in and then starting streaming. You're introducing them to an amazing platform and amazing people. Nothing wrong with them having new people come in and stream. I think it's great. Me too. I love it. There's so many people who try it for a few months and they feel they enjoy more being a chatter. A lot of the time, the people who do come over and start, you know, it's not for everyone. Sometimes they get caught up in all the excitement of streaming and they want to do it and they do it, and it's not for them, and that's fine. Sir Hopi said, Kick has really changed my life, and in the best way. It's almost almost does not feel real. But if I could meet the people who made Kick, I'd give them the biggest hug and thank them for changing my life. That's amazing. I mean, unless you can visit one of the dream hacks, you can't really give them a hug. However, you can go. The good thing is you can literally go into their streams and speak to them and tell them, you know, Eddie and the Santa Maria stream every week. You can go in and tell them what difference they've made. You know, you could genuinely do that in a way that they will actually see it and read it. And that's such a special thing. Shad is a legend. Just don't tell him I said that. Sorry. On you go, Coffee.
Yeah, and you know, Santa Maria, Eddie, all those people, even though they're like popular and huge, they are still people. And you know, when Santa Maria like reads that somebody actually liked what they're doing with the platform, it's like, I'm proud of the way you're going forward. It will actually mean a lot to them because they deal with a lot of the hate. So it's really good to go out there and show them that. Yeah, go tell them that I love your platform. Keep going forward. Keep doing that. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep growing the platform, making it better because I love what you're doing. Because you know, give them back what the platform is trying to give you.
Yeah, I adore Santa Maria's streams. I haven't actually managed to make one in a while, but I just love. I mean, the community laugh at me and they say that I simp for him a little bit. I probably do simp for him a little bit, but I think it's more about how he handles his chat than anything else. He is so good at reading everything, and it's such a busy stream. He reads it all and the way he responds. Because I'm really big on talking, as we all know, but I'm also really big on saying what I want to say, but making sure I say it in a way that doesn't offend anyone and doesn't get anyone in trouble. And I'm quite good at wording things, even in difficult situations. But he's like the fucking master at that. he answers it all. People are in there asking about somebody who was accused of being a paedophile, who they're saying, why didn't they get a ban? And he answers every question the best he can. He gives out the information he's obviously allowed to, but he just does it so well. He's just so good at it, and I love it. But yeah, he's spoken to, answered many of my questions in the past about things, and yeah, it's definitely worth stopping in. If you already love Kick, you'll come out of one of his streams loving it even more. It's ace.
It's nice to see that you love him as much, because my mod keeps saying, who's actually my brother also, keeps saying that I'm the #1 Santa Maria user.
We can just send for Santa Maria together. I love it.
Whenever I'm just chatting and we're talking about Kick, I'm like, actually Santa Maria. And he's like, oh, here we go again. Here comes the glazing. The Kick glazer is here.
I love it. Right, so we're gonna start a fan club, Coffee.
Yes.
The Santa Maria fan club. Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a cardboard Santa Maria on the background.
Oh my god, I want one too.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And that's absolutely going to tweet him that clip later. I'm still catching up. Hope he said, I remember the name of the first person who chatted in my chat, and even though I don't really see them anymore, I'll never forget them. It's so special, isn't it? Panda, your Kick Pics clip was great. I loved it. Mate, I just cried like a baby. I ugly cried. I honestly, talking of Kick Pic, for anyone who doesn't know what Kick Pics is, every week Kick picks 4 creators and they go into your stream and they gift you 100 subs, and then they pin a post that tells you have been picked for Kick Pics this week. We see the amazing content that you're making, keep going, and then you get featured on their Twitter and their website and for the whole week, for the week that you've been picked for. And when it happened to me, I was at a real low point with streaming. Many people know this is my full-time job, and with my health conditions, it's my only way of making a living, and things weren't great financially. Things weren't growing very well. I'd taken a bit of a backward step. It happens to us all. You have some growth and then you go backwards. I was just in a really bad headspace with streaming in general. Probably the worst I've been since I started over a year ago. And then that happened. And when that happened, because I was in such a negative headspace, when I just couldn't I couldn't compute, and I literally just burst into tears. It was just, and I mean, the financial side of it was obviously great. 100 subs is a lot of money, but it wasn't even that really got me emotionally. It was that when I was feeling at my lowest in streaming, that they saw me, the Kick staff and the Kick team and the people who run this platform that I stream on saw me and said, no, you're doing great. You're doing amazing, and we see you, and keep going. And that was what hit me in the feels, really. And I think that's why I still get so emotional when I watch the Kick Picks. If it's someone I know, I'm a wreck. But even if it's just somebody I don't know and they get emotional as well, you can tell when you watch the videos, you know, you can tell the ones that really, really means a lot for, you know, the ones that it means a lot for the right reasons, you know, that they feel that recognition as well. And when I see that, that's me again, sitting crying in the corner.
Yeah.
Apparently you made Expo cry. Why did you cry, Expo? We're behind on the chat, but damn, Coffee, you actually make me in tears here.
Wait, what did I do?
Don't know.
I forgot what I said. When
I know.
I said that.
Coffee and Panda. Oh, it's a question. I'm gonna come back to that. Give me a second.
I'm just trying to wave hi to everybody.
Yes. Hello, everyone. It's so hard. I hope people, regulars, certainly know that we're not ignoring you. We just get caught up in the conversation. I'm just Logie, I'm just writing down your question again so we can keep the flow going, and we'll get to although actually I might just go to it now because I've kind of just answered it. Because it says for my part anyway. Coffee and Panda, what was your biggest impact moment on Kick? Not your biggest sub or biggest raid received, but more like a moment that you will always remember which impacted you the most, that someone else experienced. Interesting.
Someone else.
Oh. Santa Maria followed me on Twitter. I hate you. I'm not friends with you anymore. You know all the things I've said about not being jealous, Expo? I take them all back. And now I'm jealous.
Expo, I'm hacking your account right now.
Yes.
Give me.
I don't know, when someone else experienced.
Okay, I know mine.
You go, and I'll think.
Okay. So I don't know if Lord G is still in chat, but when Lord G was having his biggest boom and his channel was going skyrocketing around there, I don't remember if it was right after his Kick Picks, but when he was getting close to that verification, I was there for him. I was, trying to give him the last little boost, and I was there to support him, seeing all the hype, seeing everything going on when he got verified. I was there, and it was one of the greatest moments. I remember Kick staff coming in and being like, refresh your page. Do you see that check mark? And I was like, oh my god, I almost cried for him because it was so great, because it was like many weeks of him like, I'm so close, and when he got that check mark, I was so happy for him.
Yeah, I've seen. I wasn't there live, but I've seen the videos. I've seen the clips, and it was an amazing moment. I'm still really struggling with this because there's so many many that means so much to me. We spoke about Blue. Blue was the first person that I'm close to that got Kick Picks after I had, and that hit me. I had a moment even just last week where Shad got featured on the front page, and I'd been talking a lot with Shad. He'd been quite open about, publicly speaking about how he was having a quite a low time. He was really struggling with things, and he got front page and things were popping off, and I got emotional then. But the one moment that sticks in my head, and Expo, I hope you don't mind me speaking about this, but when Expo came out as non-binary on their stream, I had been talking quite a lot with Expo privately about it, and about how Kick is such a this community is the kind of place where you can be accepted for whoever you are, and I that moment watching Expo do that, what really touched me on a personal level, but also just that we're lucky enough to have this platform and this community that will accept. Anyone who knows me knows I am I am all about supporting absolutely everyone, and I'm a huge ally for the LGBTQI community. My kid is a part of it, and it's all very, very close to my heart, and it just that moment will stay with me forever. And can I tell you my worst moment that someone else did? Because it's also Expo, and it's when they turned on that fucking feet cam. That is my worst moment on Kick. So there you go, Expo. You've got the best moment of another streamer on Kick, and the worst. Okay.
And the second worst when they told that Santa Maria is following them and not
Yes,
us.
I know, right? How?
How?
How? Santa Maria, you've let us down. Oh God. He does make Kick. Santa Maria is a true legend. He makes Kick better. It's true. You both are good. Love hearing you guys. Love you, Dee Dee. Lordsy for the win. But you love feet. I do not love feet. Stop it. I'm just ruining your lives. You're like simultaneously ruining it and making it better. Like at the same time.
Yeah.
Opie says, I haven't had one of those moments yet, but I have had something like it. It was when I met my Kick mom, Lady Pixels. I had made a meme character in Photoshop that she joked about in her stream, and she put the little meme character in her stream. That made me feel so happy. That's special, though. That's really special. You need to have balance. That's so true.
Yeah.
You do need to have the balance of destruction and love. Okay. Right. I think we're caught up on chat, just about.
Yeah.
Right, so we were talking when we talked about your starting on Kick and things. We spoke about your first impressions, and then obviously affiliation. You know, how long did it take you to become affiliated, and what was that journey like for you?
God damn, I don't really remember. I remember what I was playing at the time when I hit affiliate, and I kind of remember the couple of first people who subbed. Well, I'd say around a month or something like that. So plus minus a week. So maybe 5 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm not really quite sure. But I remember when I started on Kick, I think I streamed for like 2 to 3 weeks, and then I went on vacation. And during the vacation, I browsed around Kick and I met a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came back, it kind of like boosted me a little bit. And I feel like 1, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after that. So I'd say around 4 to 6 weeks probably until I hit affiliate. Something around there. I don't really remember, but I remember yeah.
Did you feel like it was something you had to really push for, or was it quite an organic thing for you?
I think it came pretty organically, because I feel like it came like in little bits. In like, we kind of did certain things to like put us out there. For example, one of the first things is I used to play Valorant, and we would tell people like, come stream snipe us if you dare. And then they would see Kick. Yeah, they would see that I'm on Kick, and we'd have a lot of conversations about Kick, because some people would have negative reactions about the start of Kick, and we had a lot of conversations about Kick back then, and a lot of people followed through Valorant. And then I used to do hardcore Minecraft, so people who were around the smaller Minecraft communities back then also followed. And I followed a lot of people who did Minecraft and Valorant and Rocket League. Those were kind of the first things I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know people who also do them to potentially like collab with and stuff like that. And like one of the longest time like community members, he's called Loki. I still stream with him often, and I go to his chat and he comes to my chat, and we like interact with each other like still to this day. And he's one of the first people who I met on Kick, and it's so cool. So I feel like it came in like a couple of followers per stream, and I streamed like crazy hours when I started, because I had a summer vacation, and I would have like a week where I would like average 10 hours a day. Like I have like 12-hour streams, 8-hour streams, like day in a row. I'd like eat, sleep, and stream, because I had nothing else to do, and it was just basically me trying to do stuff and get to know people and trying to make everything a little bit interactable. And yeah, I don't exactly remember, but yeah.
No, that's cool. So now that you're affiliated, you've been on the platform for a year. What's next? What's the goal? What are you working towards now?
Well, obviously, there's going to be a lot of changes in my life. So for the longest time, it was we were pushing towards verification, and we were getting close to that. But now we've kind of taken like things slower. We can't have like daily streams anymore because I have to pack and get all the school stuff going and see how the new schedule is going to be. Do I have to have a part-time job while living and stuff like that? So I don't know. Basically, my goal now is to try to keep the stream alive while also studying, and see how it goes. One of my goals right now is try to grow my YouTube a lot, and my TikTok, and make more unique content on those content. I feel like a lot of like what I see on streamers is just like clips of their streams and highlights of their best plays, and I feel like I don't want to do exactly the same, and I want to have more like unique content. Like I want my TikTok to have content that's made like it's made for TikTok with the potential to grow, and my YouTube content to be like for YouTube and like more like just expo shut up.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
It's a Finnish thing. It's a Finnish thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I have like plans, but we'll see how all time works out, and like
that's good on TikTok though. That's the way it go on TikTok as well. Is to have something unique, because I spend a lot of time on my TikTok videos and researching how to, because TikTok is an algorithm. It's very different to Kick, where you have to network and things like that to grow. It is an algorithm, and you have to hit the right spot to get that push into the For You page. It's all about having a hook at the beginning of your like the first 3 seconds of your video, so people don't keep swiping past. I really enjoy it. Drives me nuts sometimes because it's so hard, because you can get a video that hits 3,000 views and then get one that gets 150 and you can't figure out why. But I do enjoy that journey. Just a quick note for you. You said earlier that you can't stream because you haven't got enough followers. If you are an established streamer, you can apply to TikTok, and they will give you permission to stream.
Okay, I didn't know that.
If you already have a streaming like background, then you can apply to them. I can't remember exactly. I'll find it. I'll find it after. But you can't. You definitely can. I've seen people streaming with less than 1,000 followers over there. So.
Okay. I was not ever.
There you go. So yeah, where are we? So moving on to something I'm sure you've experienced, because I know that you do get you're like myself are blessed in getting featured on the front page quite regularly, so I'm assuming that you deal with quite a lot of trolls, because I certainly do. So when you do get trolls, how do you deal with them?
I don't know. So dealing with trolls is I've heard a lot of creators say that sometimes trolls like get under their skin and it's really hard for them. But I have a little bit of a secret. I've before I was a streamer, I might have been a little bit of a troll myself.
Confessions. We have confessions on KitCon. This Kit confessions.
I got caught. So I know exactly how all of the trolls think, and I know exactly how to frustrate them. So I basically troll the trolls back, and basically I try to always like, if there's anything going on, I always try to make my best out of like making content out of it, and make it like entertaining for the people who are not the troll. Yeah. So basically, like somebody comes in and is like, "What the fuck you wearing, mate? You're gay." And then I'm like, "You bet I am gay." Like I just I try to play off from it, and make something funny out of it. And I'm like, you interested? Huh? Oh,
I love that.
Just try to make him a little bit uncomfortable or something like that. Just whatever. Just try to play it off. Try to make your most out of anything. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's I don't know. I like to go with the flow and just like bounce off of anything that happens. And I feel like anything can be like harnessed into content in a way. And it's just like it's just up to you on what kind of way you want to do it. And of course, maybe there's moments where you don't want to use trolls for content, and you can just ban them. They
Yeah,
might
and I
just come
think
back with on
sometimes
another
that
account.
are trolls that we shouldn't use for content. You know, there are some who make their name, like they might make their name something really offensive, or they might come in with something that's just not cool and not funny, and for me that's an instant ban. They're just gone. But if they're just like standard trolling, then it's fun to play with them sometimes.
If they're like straight up like racist or sexist, I might just like ban them. But usually it's like if they have like something against me, as long as they don't like attack people in chat, I usually just let it be. And I'm one of those people who rarely bans people.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if somebody's like they have the N word in their name, it's just insta ban,
Yes.
But, or Rabbi comes in. Out of here,
See ya.
out of here.
Yeah.
And it's like, but like if they're just a standard troll with a troll name, that's not something super offensive. If they're not attacking people on chat, I usually just like play it off.
Yeah.
If they're attacking somebody on chat, I always want the chat not to be very uncomfortable.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes there's trolls who go after everybody in the chat, and those I usually just I cut them out. But I'm a person who very often I time people out and I tell them like, just don't go after other people. If you come back in 5 minutes and you do that again, then I'll have to ban you. But if you come back in 5 minutes and you just troll me, you do that. So let them cool off for a little bit, and then
Yeah, we're quite similar. I have quite protective mods sometimes, so sometimes they do get banned, but I do like to play with them a little bit. And I think unfortunately sometimes the trolling that we experience is different because I'm a female and you're a male. Yes. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be different, but I think it is sometimes. So
and I do think it's more rough for people who are female or like. And especially like part of LGBTQ people, I feel like because those can be very like sensitive subjects. So like I use the gay example because sometimes people just assume I'm gay. But it's like for me, I don't mind it. Like you can say whatever you want. And I'm like, but like I'm an ally of LGBTQ. So if I don't want them to like attack it as a whole. I'll make a joke about it. But
exactly. Like, it's different to say if they're because I get it a lot. I get asked if I'm trans a lot.
I get asked that too, but like I don't know.
You just got to go with that a lot of the time, but there's limits. But I give my mods know that they kind of have control as well. If they've had enough of someone's shit, they could ban them because so you'll know yourself. Sometimes that chat gets really busy when you're on front page, and it's hard for you to keep on top of everything. So I trust them to make those decisions. I had a really good one once. So I can't remember what his name was. So it was like something really sexual, like something like something about coming on someone's face or something. It was something, and it so happened that I didn't have any mods in at the time. So I just normally we just it would depend on the mood. Sometimes we'll just like, I can't be bothered. We can't be bothered with it. See you later. But I ended up actually sparking up a conversation with him and like asking him, how does that go down? What kind of reactions? And he actually he ended up chatting away, and he stayed in the stream for ages. We had to rein him in a couple of times. We were like, now wait, there's a line. Here's the line. You're crossing it. Come back on this side, and you can stay. And he was literally said he's just bored, and he just does it to see what reactions he gets, and he quite liked the vibes that we gave, so he hung out for a while. So sometimes if you ban too quick, you are missing content, and you're missing an opportunity to understand why people do what they do. I mean, you already understand because you're an ex-troll. But they can certainly be fun, but there has to be a line. And I always say to people when they're starting out, you gotta grow that thick skin, because the one thing the trolls never do is hurt my feelings. Because I genuinely couldn't give a shit what they say about me, and they say some vile stuff sometimes, but that's just like, it's just more about whether I want to use this is my space, and if I decide I want to use your abuse as content, then I'll use it to my advantage. But if I'm not in that mood, then you can jog on. They don't control us,
Yeah, and it's always like when we hold the mic, we have like the power, because it's always like harder to be like if I was trolling you right now, like you'd have a hard time because I'm talking to you and all that stuff. But like if there's somebody trolling in chat, you always kind of hold the power because you have the ability to speak, and
Yeah. And I think that's a really good way to look at it, actually. And it's a good bit of advice for somebody who struggles with that does get offended and upset by trolls. And that's a really good way to say it, is to remember that you do have the power, you have the mic, you have the platform. They're just sitting behind a keyboard. I think that's a really good way to say it.
But of course there's, now that I think about everything, I know a few examples of people who experience like a higher level of like trolling, like constant doxing, people who hate on their family and stuff like that, and that's like that's completely different thing, and I've never experienced something like that.
No.
But also I'm like semi-protective of my privacy. Like usually I do tell like stuff about my private life, like I tell about my girlfriend, I've shared with my girlfriend, I told about my school and stuff like that, but there's like certain things that nobody knows about. There's like one person who knows my actual name. God damn it, Expo. I accidentally looked my name. and like even people who I met IRL didn't really know where I live. But Expo, of course, sniped me somehow. Knew where I lived.
Yeah,
but
and it's so important to have those boundaries, and they will be different. They'll be different for everyone, because obviously, like, I have friends who came from Facebook, like I said, who streamed on Facebook and had to use their personal profile. So some of their community and some of their viewers, they all know each other's full names because they used Facebook profiles to interact. Like for me, everybody knows my real name is Krista, and everybody knows that. But I came from Twitch, and on Twitch, because I was streaming with my best friend, we found it really weird to call each other Panda and Princess. So we called each other Krista and Sammy, and we also came off the back of a Facebook group. That's where we built our community, so people knew our names. So when I came over here, I was quite happy for people to know my first name. Nobody uses it. Like I literally answer to Panda more often than I answer to Krista now. But it's not a secret. But I do keep my surname and my exact location. People know I live in the northeast of Scotland, and they know that Aberdeen is my closest city. But apart from that, you have to be careful, and you have to have your limits, and people have to respect that as well. Just call you Coffee forever. But then, like, in saying that, when I spoke about me and Sammy, because we were friends before we streamed, we call each other Krista and Sammy. But like, Shad is now one of my best friends, and his real name's not Shad, but we call each other Panda and Shad, and it's crazy. It would be really weird. I know his first name, but it would be really weird to start calling him his first name now. It's funny, isn't it?
For me, it's been like a nickname that people have actually like called me for a while. Also, some people call me Sam. That's also like just a nickname that people call me. But it's like so rarely do people actually use my actual like real name. It's like maybe my mom calls me by my real name, but it's like if I play with my brothers, they're gonna call me Coffee. Or then there was one guy who we met on Rust who called me Coffin. So sometimes they call me Coffin as a joke. But like, oh no, I remember your name.
In my real life, I nobody calls me Panda, like in real life, but But I know that if I ever met up with any of the community here, that's all that I would get called. And I'm okay with it. Like I say, I'm used to I stream so much now, and I spend so much time online with these people that I'm used to it. I feel like I have two names. A random dropped my postcode in chat once. Holy shit, Neo. That's scary. That's really scary.
I kind of I kind of doxed myself already with my new place, because I've been very open on what uni I got in, and I'm living right next to it. So it's like it is what it is. You don't know which apartment it is. Unless I go out with this outfit.
I know it's so hard because at the like where we're at in our streaming journeys, it's incredibly unlikely that anybody would do anything with that information. But
Yeah.
you're on the internet and that information is there forever. So if it does get out at this stage and things do grow and you get to a point or something happens that would mean people would want to use that information negatively, then if you've said it before when you were small, then that information's still available somewhere,
Yeah. I once when I got my new motherboard, I showed the post package and it had my address.
Yeah, I've
But
nearly
people-
done that before.
Yeah, but I went back to watch the VOD after that happened, and I like showed it like this, and it was so blurry you couldn't really, even if you knew what it was, you couldn't really tell. Maybe you could have known my city from it, but that's about it. But the reason why I don't really want to get dogs right now is because I live with my parents or with my mom, and they're like very private, and that's why we live in the country, because they don't really care for people too much. They want their privacy, so I don't want their address to be doxed. Because, like, let's say everything blows up for person, and I made a huge channel. People will find that information, and they'll think I still live there, and come check out, like, if you're living there, and then it's gonna be just a noise to my mom,
Yeah. No, it's a really interesting one. The biggest thing is just to respect people's boundaries. I think everyone will have different boundaries, and just make sure you respect them is kind of the big one. $5 for reveal. We have a lot of names now. Yes, we do, Nobber. I know that on top of people having their username, you end up having nicknames for them, like D. I was about to say DD and I. DD is the nickname that Shaname uses for Death Dragon, which is obviously not his real name, and then I call him Nobber. So he's got like so many names. I like the name Krista so much. I like my name. It's a pretty name. It's a German name.
Yeah.
There's no reason. We have no German connections. My mom and dad just liked it. But it is a German name. But yeah. It's weird when people in this... I find it weird when people in this circle call me Krishna, because like Captain Numbskulls, who is Gaz, who is one of my best friends from... I met him before I even did Twitch. He's part of that world. I've met him in real life several times. He can't call me Panda because he's met me in real life and always known me as Krista. He calls me Krista. And I always find it weird, like when I'm streaming and we're in a voice chat and he calls me Krista, because it just, like, when we play games away from Kick, it's totally normal. But in this environment, when someone says Krista, I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Shan, hello.
I met Expo IRL and I just called them Expo. So it felt normal to me.
Yeah, that's it. You just gotta go. It's just like a nickname, isn't it? But it's one that you use. Well, I use like 40 hours a week when I'm streaming, so
yeah,
it doesn't.
And we call Lucini.
Yeah. Pika Pika. Why are we Pika Pikaing? He spanned me out when he first called you that. I didn't know that was your name. Yeah, because like I say, although it's not been a secret, I think it's in my bio on Kick. Although my name being Krista is not a secret, nobody's ever really used it. So the first time we were playing Lethal Company and Gaz called me Krista, everyone was like, "Who's Krista?"
Yeah.
It's the blurb I do in Pooh's stream. It's my intro song. Ah, nice. I hope you're doing good, Shanna May. Okay, so moving on. Streaming, we speak about it a lot. Streaming can be tricky with mental health. It can, we talk a lot about how there's positives and negatives there for dealing with mental health. How do you kind of balance life, mental health, and streaming, and make sure you're taking care of your mental health while you're also being a creator?
Well, it's quite difficult sometimes. Especially like if there's something going on IRL, it's sometimes really hard to keep your mental health up. But there's like certain things I do. For example, I like taking walks. I live on the countryside, so taking a walk with my dog usually helps. And I'm like a big thinker. I love thinking about stuff. Usually when I like think things through, I realize that I'm making something huge about something that's really not all that big. And just like kind of change my view on how I see stuff. And for a while I had this program on my channel that was called Mental Health Mondays, where I would open up about my mental health, and we would speak about other people's mental health, and it was kind of like a thing that we would be gaming and talking about mental health, talking about stuff. I don't really have it around anymore because I sometimes feel like I don't want to open up too much, and sometimes I feel like opening up to a stream while trying to be entertaining was like counterintuitive. It could have it kind of downplayed the problems that I would be dealing with, so I couldn't really get over them by like talking about them on stream. So I haven't really done that in months, but maybe I'll bring it back like every now and again to talk with people about their like stuff.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have open conversations about mental health. We do it a lot here, but I had thought in the past about doing like a mental health stream, but I find it really difficult to plan that conversation. We quite often have stopped a stream, like stopped gaming and entered into quite an open conversation about mental health, but it's triggered by somebody saying something in the chat, someone saying that they're struggling, or someone speaking about mental health or asking a question about it, and then it happens really naturally, and then we kind of stop and talk, and everyone shares their experiences. I don't think it's something I personally could do planned, because then like you're starting a stream and you're like, how do we go into this, and then you're even more exposed because you're then having to try and start a conversation, regardless of how you might be having a great day, your mental health might be top form that day, and how do you then, without someone else's input to kind of to trigger the conversation, how do you then have an honest, natural conversation about it? That can be hard, and then you might end up pushing yourself, like you said, to kind of talk more and go deeper than you would want to about your own mental health, because you're like, it's Monday, we talk about it today, I have to talk about it, and you're kind of boxing yourself in and putting pressure on yourself, and that's kind of the opposite. So I think it's really important to talk about it, but it should be natural.
I kind of have mixed feelings about stuff, like the fact that I stopped, because like a lot of people when I did it actually opened up, like, and people who normally wouldn't like talk about it, and I felt like we were actually doing like a positive impact, but I also did feel like I always had to kind of initiate it with me talking about something of my own. And it's like sometimes it would have been like I have to talk about something that's like maybe already kind of in the past, but it's on a way like I've gotten over it, but in a way it's also like reopening the wound of like how I felt back then, and it can like get me back to that mindset. And like my stream's always like very high energy, very let's have fun, let's vibe around, blast some music, and rage a little bit when things go bad, and joke around and stuff like that. So it was really very different energy from what I usually do. We usually very quiet, vibey music, just talking, like not very fast, not very loud, very very like melancholic even, and in a way kind of the content that I didn't really want to do. So I felt like it wasn't really appropriate to what I like to make. And also I don't know if you have your stream plus 18, but I don't have my stream plus 18.
Oh, I do.
And sometimes I felt
have you heard my potty mouth?
I was about to ask you when you were talking about that one troll, but I don't have my stream plus 18 because I feel like a lot of the time when we're doing content, we do keep it like plus 13. Sometimes we kind of hop around the line a little bit.
Yeah, that's like, okay though. We're just we talk about big swearing, big filth. My community are filth. Plus, I play horror games that a lot of the time are not for under, well, not for under 16s probably, but yeah, no, we're definitely 18 plus here.
But I kind of felt like I wanted to have those streams 18 plus, because sometimes the things that we would talk about during those streams would be such heavy stuff that even like if you're a young person, just hearing about them might actually like get your like head buzzing about stuff like that, and get you overthinking, and you might be so young you don't know how to deal with feelings like that. And of course and it's and of course if a younger person in your like community is opening up about something that's like kind of inappropriate, it's kind of hard to you can't really say that, like you can't say that, but at the same time it's like if you keep it not plus 18, it's like you kind of asking for people to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really a difficult
It
situation.
is, and
so
it is a tricky
yeah.
one as well. Like
yeah,
I love it when we have these open conversations, but I find one of the things I find tricky is keeping that line between, you know, we are discussing this together, talking about our own experiences, and being really careful that yourself and your chat don't take that too far and be advising people who are dealing with, because, you know, we can't be seen to be given like a proper advice, like
yeah,
to people who are going through the more serious sides of mental health. And I have had people bring up things like self-harm and taking their own lives and these kind of conversations. And when those are mentioned, you have to be so careful that you're not advising somebody who might be in that much of a dark space. You know, we can talk about our experiences, we can listen to what you're saying, but then you have to say, like, you know, you need to talk to a medical professional as well here. You know, we are not medical professionals. We are not mental health trained. This is an informal conversation. And I just find that line scares me sometimes, because I worry that someone in chat might give someone the wrong advice, might say something that triggers somebody. It's a really delicate situation.
I always, when we had that kind of conversation, I always made it very sure to say that I'm no professor and I'm not therapist. And you, if you're having these thoughts, you have to like actually reach out to a medical professional and not like try to take it all like on your own. But also I wanted to like share stuff that like could be like show that it's normal to go through this kind of stuff sometimes, and that other people do go through it, and that you're not alone on these thoughts and that kind of stuff.
And that can make such a difference. And it always amazes me when we do talk about that, how many other people come out of the you know, even come out of lurk mode to say, you know, I've experienced this too, I've had those feelings as well, you know, I totally relate to what you're saying, and that can be such a beneficial thing. But it's we can say that I do the same, you know, I'm not a professional, I say all those things. It's when chat say something, you know, because we only have so much control over the people in the community. You know, we can say ourselves, but you might have someone in your chat who thinks it's okay to give direct advice to somebody. You know, they've been through it, and this is how I dealt with it, and this is what I did, and that might not be the right advice, and that becomes a bit of a sticky conversation, because you can't control that. But again, I just interject if someone says that, and I said, you know, it's great to talk about how you dealt with it, but we have to remember that none of us here are medical professionals, and we're not advising you what to do apart from speak to a professional. Yeah, exactly. Sure. I always, if I do see that in the chat, I always redirect it. But yeah, the negatives definitely outweigh the positives, and talking about it openly, you know, it's such a valid way to use our platforms, I think. Because there's a lot of it, we're surrounded by a lot of mental health, because I feel like people who deal with depression and anxiety and people who are neurodivergent and have other mental health conditions are drawn to gaming, and they're also drawn to streaming because of the community, like that connection that you can feel with people, because it's such a unique and special connection you can make with people as a viewer or a streamer. People are drawn to that when they're dealing with mental health. So you do find that so many more people in this world, in this sector, are dealing with that stuff than you would ever expect. So yeah, that's super important. When it comes to your own mental health, you seem like you're somebody who has a very positive outlook and a very positive attitude on streaming. I know a lot of people I've spoken to, and myself, have spoken about how the roller coaster of streaming, especially doing it full time, can have a negative effect on your mental health. Things like watching those numbers too much, or, you know, overthinking, comparing yourself to others, all that kind of stuff. Do you find that streaming has a negative effect on your mental health, or do you feel that you kind of got that under control?
Kind of like you say, it's a roller coaster. So sometimes I might feel bad about something, but I've always been like very not about the numbers. I try to not look at them. I always, when I'm streaming, I always have my viewer number off, and I never really keep track of how many followers I have on Get and stuff like that. And I try to not like have that as an effect, and I try to like think about, okay, what was good today? Okay, this new person was sharing it a lot. I got to know this person, and try to always like get all of the positive. But you know, of course, there's sometimes bad days. Sometimes you can feel like there was nothing positive. Chat was very dry. Viewer numbers were down. Nobody was really interested in what you were doing. Everybody was busy that day. It's the summer. Everybody's on vacation. All of your regulars are doing something. You didn't really meet any new people. Nobody happened to raid you on that day. It can like be very like negative in a way. And I feel like one of the worst things that happened to me was when I was close to verified. Everybody was like, yeah, push Coffee to verified, and that made me like look at the numbers more. Everybody was like, what's your CCV at? What's your CCV? Do you need anything else? What? And then I just stared at the CCV every single day. And I was like, okay, we just have to get that to the 75, and that's all that we care about. But I feel like that was just a bad thing. Like if I didn't look at it, or maybe check it once a week and see, okay, now it is at 75. Okay, let's apply. But it was kind of like a thing where everybody was like, we have to push you there, and we have to stare at it, and we have to, you know, get the metric up. And it's a bad approach to it, and it just, even I got there and I got denied, and then I felt bad about it, because I felt like I've let everybody down who was hyped about it and stuff like that. But I felt so much better not looking at it, not worrying about it, and letting it grow on its own, and like just be happy of new people who come around, new people you get to meet, people you get to chat with, and just the fact that you have like even if it's small, you have like your own platform, and you have your stream where you can talk about stuff and do what you want and create the kind of stuff you want to create. And even if you have a stream where nothing happens, maybe you get a good clip out of it that you can use somewhere. And it's like you if you plan stuff out, it usually just works out in the end. And it's like, if you have a plan for the stream, I want to do this, I potentially want to get a clip out of it, I wanna interact with chat in this way. And sometimes everything doesn't go as you plan, but usually if you go with the flow, you find a way. And sometimes there's downs, sometimes there's ups, and you gotta embrace both.
100%. Growth is never linear. It's never a straight line. It's quite the opposite. It has highs and it has very lows. And I've been through similar myself with getting too focused on the numbers. I don't have my numbers up anymore. I put them off all the time. I might check them occasionally during a stream, just flick it on for a second just to see where we're at, especially if I'm coming close to the stream, to see how many we're raiding out with. You know, I like to know if we've got a small raid or a big raid, so I can pick the right person to take that to. You know, you want to, And I might just keep a little eye on it, and I keep an eye on the overall numbers. Like I'll check back on stream charts how we're doing in general, because I like to know the growth. But it's been a huge benefit to me just turning it off completely. Because you can get so bogged down on it. And it is like, I had a huge high like a couple months ago where we were getting like 60-70 people in the streams all the time, and things are popping off, and it was incredible. But then it dipped again. And now this last month my CCV's dropped quite significantly. And like if I was still in that headspace where you're watching that constantly and things, it would have such a negative effect. And there's enough things for us to overthink. I am a big overthinker, and there are enough things to overthink when you're streaming. Like one of the biggest things, and the thing I really struggle with, is when you said about the chat drying up. It's when the chat's quiet, like for a long period of time. Sometimes a short spell happens, and that's fine. But this last month, I know that I'm not the only one that's been experiencing it. There's been, it's the time of year. I feel like there's some changes going on within the communities as to how people support each other as well. I feel like it's kind of fluctuating across the board just now. But when there's nobody, because like what I've experienced in the last month in particular is like when things are good, they're like fucking insane. Like you're like the chat is bouncing. I'm on front page. I've got 40 viewers. It's popping off on TikTok. I can't keep up. It's absolutely insane. And then you could come back to my chat an hour later and nobody talks for 45 minutes. and that's that highs and lows is so tricky to get your head around, because obviously I'm so grateful for the positive moments and they are incredible, but then when you're sitting an hour later, you're still buzzing off of that positivity and there's nobody there to bounce off of, you feel it so hard and you're like, what happened? And all these things go through my head anyway, like, is it only busy because I was on front page? Is this, is it temporary? Is it going to go away? Do people not want to be here? And you just got to kind of we call them mind gremlins here. You got to stamp on the mind gremlins and not listen to them, and that's all without having the numbers up. So there's enough for us to worry about. The numbers will come at the end of the day. You just gotta hold on tight and ride the roller coaster.
And I feel like it's really nice to talk about the fact that that happens to everybody, because I feel like when I watch like other creators who might be like similarly sized communities as mine, or bigger a little bit or smaller a little bit, like on the same general area in like growth, I would say, usually when I like show up to them, there is chat activity and there's stuff going on, because they might be on front page and that's why I check them out, or I rate them out, and then I go say hi to them, and then chat's flying and it seems like they're doing super good, and you never feel like you're like, every time I see Panda stream, the chat's popping, such high energy and everything's going good, and then you never get to see the moment when everything's dead. Because even when you like, even if you show up when it's dead, you usually like strike up the chat yourself. And it's like you don't realize the fact that, maybe if I was here 5 minutes and I never said anything, the chat was completely dry and there was no energy, and you just feel like, oh my god, this is happening to me and people don't want to watch me. And every time I go watch somebody else, it never happens to them. Their community is so awesome. They're so interactive and so big, and they're so great. What am I doing wrong? But you just miss the parts where what you have to go through to have those moments, and it's like, and sometimes it's so weird that you'll have the driest chat ever, and then the chat just blows up out of nowhere, and you can't even keep up, and it's just
and I think it actually means a lot that you've kind of said that, because I quite often say that a lot of people, for me personally, a lot of people kind of think, pandas, things are flying for Panda, they're having massive growth, everything's amazing, and the reality of it is, we are having some key moments, and in some areas the growth is out of this world and we are going the right direction. But the reality is, in the last 6 weeks, my CCV's dropped by about 9. That we've had a significant drop in CCV, like pretty quick. But people only see the big moments. They don't then they think, they're fine. They don't. And I worry as well that people think, Panda doesn't need my support because she's flying, she's doing great. Well, let's go with this other person who's only got 8 viewers, but that person might have 8 viewers and 5 chatters, and I could be sitting. I had a stream not long ago where I had my view count said 40, and I went to do my duck races. My duck races. 2 people entered. 2 people, and the viewer said 40. And I was like, I would rather have 8 viewers and 5 of them chatting than 40 and only 2 of them actually paying attention. Don't ever judge someone on the high moments or the low moments. We are all on a roller coaster here. If you want to support somebody, that should be through the thick and thin.
I remember there was a time when I got like a lot of raids out of nowhere. Like I had a month where everybody just wanted to raid me, and then I was talking with another creator. I won't say their name, and they have had a much more active chat than I did, and I like stuck around for long periods of time. So they and I chatted with them about streaming and all that stuff, and then one time they said, like, I was like, I just feel sometimes that like in private I said that like chat activity kind of, you know, it weirds me out, and it bumps me down if there isn't a lot of it. And they were like, but you're doing so well, like you'll have higher numbers than I do most of the time. And I'll be like, yeah, but it's I just happened to get these rates today, and happened to be on the front page. And also it's like one thing that Jake, a creator here, also really says often, that you shouldn't really have too high goals for like chatters and followers and stuff like that, because it's usually stuff you can't really control yourself.
Yeah.
Because like you can't really control the fact that are you gonna get rated, are there gonna be people who show up, and it's like you can make your stream better and you can make your content better and you can make it more unique, and that will grow you over time.
Yeah.
But on a singular day, there isn't much you can control yourself. There might be a day where everything just happens to go wrong in a way where nobody has the moment to show up. You're on at the wrong time for everybody. Everybody is doing this one thing. Coffee is moving that day, so he doesn't show up for you, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like...
And we can't. It's another kind of side effect of how amazing the community is here.
Yeah.
Is that I don't know if you feel the same. I have met so many incredible streamers that I want to hang out with, that there's just not enough time to stream, to do to live my life and do all the content stuff that I do, and hang out in all the streams that I genuinely want to support and hang out in.
Yeah.
There just isn't enough time. And some people might sit and think, oh, I'm always in Panda's chat, why is she not in mine? Or I haven't seen Panda in ages. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just it is so hard. And I try and remember that, you know, when I'm thinking, you know, where is everyone? Why is chat so quiet? And I know how hard it is for me to be everywhere I want to be. I'm guilty. Fox says I'm guilty of comparing. I always wonder where I'm going wrong.
It's really hard not to compare yourself. And that's like one of the flaws that I've had, is like I'll look at a creator who's having higher numbers or having higher chat activity, and they're just recently blowing up, for example, and then I'll think like, why can't I be that way? Like how do I get to where they are? And it's like, maybe you can't like at the moment, or like it's not in your control right now, and maybe it'll happen randomly. And I feel like when I had my biggest boom, I've come down like a lot on CCV and stuff like that, and it's partly because the hype died, and partly because I had to cut my like days of streaming, but mostly I feel like it was just because people just didn't have the moment to, you know, show up anymore. There wasn't this super big hype about we are getting you to verified kind of thing. And you just gotta realize that it's fine. And if you would look at the big picture, maybe you had this huge jump up in numbers and now you came down, but actually your average CCV might be higher than what it was before the boom. Yeah. So you got a bunch and you lost a little, but in the end you still have those people who will show up. And I never something that I have a pet peeve of is I don't ever wanna like say to anybody like, I haven't seen you in a long time. I find it like, because I don't like it when I've been busy and then I show up to somebody and they're like, I haven't seen you in forever. Because sometimes, okay, if they say it in a very nice way, it can be nice. Like they're like excited to see me. Yeah. But sometimes it feels like they're guilt tripping me for not showing up in their chat. Yeah. And I don't ever want to say that to somebody who's like been there to support me in the past, and they've had a busy month, and then they show up again. I'm like, oh my God, good to see you, you know? Yeah. Because it is good to see them.
It is, No, and I get that when people come in and say, I'm so sorry I've not been around. And I'm like, don't ever apologize. That's what I say. Never apologize. You know, we all have lives. Exactly. We're just happy to see you. We hope everything's okay with you. But we're just happy to see you when you can get here. You never have to apologize, you know, for not being around. You know, we all have lives and things. So that's when I decided that this is just a hobby. That way I don't get too worked up over it. I used to get so depressed. If you're getting in a really bad headspace about it, then it's good to change your outlook. But I know it's hard, because I have a lot of friends, and Fox is a really good example of it. I have a lot of friends that I feel like should have much more viewership than they do, and they should have more support, because I think they've got great vibes and I love what they do, and I'm not blowing my own horn or anything, but I feel like I can be quite a good judge of of streamers. I can judge a vibe quite well, and you know, I'm always like try to push these people out, and it makes me sad. It makes me sad when someone doesn't get that support. But the advice I would give somebody who's feeling like that, like, you know, what am I doing wrong? Why is that person getting this and I'm not? You know, what am I doing wrong? Is try and flip it. Try and flip that on its head and don't look at what am I doing wrong. Let's look at what could I do better. You know, how can I change things up a bit and make my content better? You know, how can I try not how can I be like this person, or how can I copy them, or but how you know, why am I doing this? First of all, you've obviously had that conversation with yourself, Fox, and decided that for now the hobby is the best way to go. But the biggest question first is, why am I doing this? Why am I streaming? What do I want to get out of it? And once you know that, look at that and say, what do I want my content to look like? You know, what do I want to put out in the world? And then from there, you know, work on your streams. Try new things. You know, try new games. Try a new layout. Try different schedules. You know, work. Use it as a positive. Use it as a way to grow and focus on the good. You know, we say all these things. I've spoken about how low my CCV is, and I didn't have a great month for it. Relatively didn't have a great month for subs last month and things, but there's always positives that you can look on. Always. I'm now multi-streaming on TikTok quite regularly. I'm getting more people in from TikTok than I've ever had before. I've started my monthly sub board where we put everyone's name on the board who's gifted or subscribed in that month. And I've had more people on that board than I could ever imagine. I think we had 36 people on that board last month. And I went through and counted, because I know that on the achievements panel on Kick, that when it tells you how many direct subs you have, that's not always accurate. Sometimes that number is skewed. So I went through and I counted exactly how many direct subs I had, and last month I had 33 direct subs, which is huge. That's much bigger than I've ever had before, and 36 different people either subbed or gifted subs in the space of a month. You know, that's incredible. That is a great step in the right direction for longevity. You know, those monthly subs are what will help you build a foundation moving forwards. You know, so there's always a positive, even when there's negatives. Everything else dropped, but that went up. So that means there's more people coming in individually and wanting to support in a small way. You know, and that's huge. So focus on those positives, and yeah, try and change things up a bit.
Yeah, I did something kind of similar. My girlfriend's laptop was breaking, and she's a gamer also. So we had like a span of 3 months where all of the sub money went towards her PC.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, I wrote everybody's name on the back panel of the PC.
Oh, I love that.
And when I was writing them down, I was like, I cannot believe how many people this is, because it filled the whole backboard.
It's crazy.
And seeing them all together, I was like, this is absolutely incredible. I never thought that there's actually so many people who would like even spend that $5 on me.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt so great to see that. And also when I showed the PC to her, she was like, that's how many people sub to you?
That's
and
amazing.
I'm like, yeah, I never thought about it, but yeah, and
it's nice to keep
incredible.
things relative in that way. You know, I did it at Christmas as well, and I got this little Christmas tree.
Yeah.
It was like this size, and I had these wooden baubles that were like this size, and I wrote everyone's name on that subbed that month. And like by the end of the month, you couldn't fit them on the Christmas tree. I took a photo of that, and I keep those photos. I've got like the photo of my board from this one. I keep those photos, and I try and look back on them when you're feeling like, you know, when your CCV has taken a drop of 10 in so many weeks, when you've made like a sixth of the subs that you made 2 months ago, you know, when everything else is going, I look at those things and I say, no, this is what matters. This is what will help you grow in the long term and build that sustainable foundation that you need as a streamer. It's such a big one. It was actually really nice as well. I did, obviously yesterday being the first of the month, we did a thing where we wiped all the things off and wrote August at the top, and I was like, do you know, I think this is going to be really good, because I had a real feeling of that's that month past, and here's a brand new shiny fresh page for this new month, and it gave me a really positive feeling even just doing that on stream. So yeah, there's always ways to find positivity.
Yeah.
What did Fox say there?
I actually wanted to talk about Fox, because you were talking about Fox, and I wanted to say, I don't know if Fox is still here, but like when I had like maybe 5 CCV, I had people who would come in and like say hi to me and like find me for the first time, and they'd be like, you have such great vibes and you're doing this great and that great, and they were like, you're gonna be big someday. And then I would look at the numbers and be like, it don't feel like it, it don't feel like nobody cares, it don't feel like nobody wants to come to chat. But like I took that, and I took what people said that they liked about what I did, and I made it more me, and kept expanding on it. And at some point I realized my community's grown, and more people like more of the stuff that people kept saying that will make me relevant, and I just kept growing. And like I just wanted to say that like we've been there, and if somebody like who's like Panda, for example, says that there's something in your content that has the potential to grow you, then most likely there is, and then you just gotta harness it. And one of the best tips I ever got was like, go back and look at your VODs, see as like from the like eyes of a viewer, like if I was watching this as a viewer, what do I like, what do I dislike, what could be done better, what could be expanded on. And I feel like that's how my like style and image became what it is I watched my streams and I was like, okay, I don't like when I do this really, but this stuff, when I do this YB and high energy stuff, this is really what I like. If I can like tap into this and keep doing more of this and have this kind of interactions with these people, I get more of chat. If I was a chatter, I'd like to say stuff when I was doing this and be like, spam some emos when I'm going crazy, and just find that thing that's like very you and very like what people like about your content, and expand on it. And that's how you make your own like unique thing. And if people find you interesting already, it's just like the only way is up from here.
No, I was going to say, I'm going to hang a second before I read out Fox's comment, because I was going to say that I feel, since we're talking to Fox directly, that one of the things, the only thing I feel that Fox is really lacking is self-belief. Is believing that you can do this and that people do want to watch you. I think you really struggle with that, and you've just kind of proved that with your comments saying you don't have anything that sets you apart from anyone else. You do. You're you. You are you. you are different to everyone else. You are a unique person. You are you. I'm calling you out. I'm calling you straight out.
Call him out.
I have a lot of people that I love and I support and I care about. There's not many that I would bring up in this way, and that means that I fucking believe in you in the biggest way. And I want to see you do well. And you are a great person to be around. I'm pretty fucking picky who I play games with on a regular basis, Fox, and you're one person that gets to jump in with me anytime you want. like that means a lot. You need to have more belief in yourself, honestly. Have more belief. Do what Coffee said though. Watch back your streams. Be really honest with yourself and have a look at what works and what doesn't and what could be good. I know that you've just gone through a spell where you've not been well, so you haven't been regular. You haven't been regular. I don't know what that word was. You haven't been able to do the regular streams and things, but I know you're planning on coming back to it next week. Have a look back, watch back your VODs, and like Coffee said, look at it like a viewer and see what you would like and what you wouldn't, and what you might change and what you could add. Because honestly, for me, with you, it's you. Some streamers, they do a bunch of stuff. They do a bunch of crazy stuff, and that's great. Some people are wild hype, and that's great. Some people are really good at the game. For you, it's a personality thing, and that happens quite often with me. That you're just a really easy personality to talk with. You make me laugh. You're really chatty with your chat. Those are all the things that are key, and that's what you're good at. So go and look at it and go and see how you can focus on that. My massive downfall, my health makes me very irregular streaming wise, but you can make it work. You can still make it work. You can still figure that out. But we'll stop putting the spotlight on poor Fox for now. But I'm always here to talk about this off stream as well. That, girl. I'm Big love for you.
I wasn't supposed to pressure. I just felt that
No.
I felt the way you said about Fox. There was like the way that got said about me like a year ago, like when I was 2 months in, 3 months in, whatever, 6 months in, when chat was very dead and I wasn't doing super well, but I still had my like thing going, and it's like it just people tapped into it and people liked it and people stuck around, and it just takes time, and I feel like also I've gotten into editing a lot of my content, and I feel like watching back like those clips, I see like, okay, what I could have done a bit more here, and things that I don't like. But sometimes there's things you can't control, and then you have to play off of them. One of the greatest like things that I like have as an example of like play off what's good for you is if you know KZO, or Queso, yeah.
I know who you mean, yeah.
He's big Twitch streamer, and his whole thing is that he's big. People call him fat.
Yeah.
And that has most definitely been an insult at the beginning. And then as a joke, he's posted one of those clips of somebody calling him fat and him being like, "How dare you say that to me?" You know. And then he realized that, holy, people really like that.
Yeah, he's the guy
and
that is like,
he's like, his whole thing.
Am I? I know the guy. You mean that? Yeah. Lean into it. You got to lean into it.
And then he's like, "Is anybody alive?" And it's like, it's so hilarious. And he's like tapped into what people liked, even though if it's a flaw, like. For example, one of my flaws is that I have a very strong accent, but I've kind of made it my thing, you know, that I talk about like, ain't nobody gonna understand what I say. And
you're not that bad to understand, actually. You're not that bad. I do have one request though. Will you say refrigerator?
What, did you say Schrader? Schrader!
Oh, that clip was brilliant.
It was.
But yeah, you gotta lean in. You gotta lean into what I think I'm kind of. By the way, Miranda, I do see you and I love you, and I kept going to say hello and reply to your message. I got into this conversation, so I do see you and I love you. I think it's in a way I'm almost lucky, because I think one of the big things people like about me is that I'm just a mess. I'm so fucking chaotic. I can't talk half the time. I mess things up. I have no control over the things that come out of my mouth when I'm playing horror games. I say stupid things like fuck a doodle tit wank when I get a jump scare. Like, they're all things that actually come really naturally. I don't control them, so I don't have to lean into it, because it's just me. So in that way, I'm quite lucky. But you're right, you know, and I've heard a lot of people using that as advice, that if there's something that people see as negative on your stream, then lean into it and turn it into a positive and turn it into part of what you do. And I think that's really good advice. And well, since we're talking about this, is not directed at you anymore, Fox. You're real, not a mess. I am a mess, though. We're all a mess at the end of the day, and I think that's why people relate to me so hard, because we're all a mess. You know, we're just human beings. Nothing's perfect. You know, I'm just real. I'm just me, but that's messy. But talking about when you know, when we're speaking about Fox, about when your stream's really quiet and if you've been doing it a long time and you feel like you're not getting any growth, and this is not directed at Fox as particularly, this is kind of an across the board one, as I think, and I don't want it to come across harsh, but sometimes the truth is a little harsh. If you're streaming for a long time and you're never getting growth and you're not changing anything in your stream, then you're never gonna get that growth. You know, to keep doing the same thing and expect different results for long periods of time is not going to get you anywhere. You know, if you're streaming to very low numbers and a very quiet chat constantly for a very long period of time, and I do see it a lot on Kick, and I see a lot of people bitching about it on Twitter, and there's quite a lot of people that have been bitching about it for a long time, and I have popped in to their chats months ago and then popped in again more recently, and nothing has changed. If you've tried doing it one where belly button guy, we're busy today, we can't talk about belly buttons today, I am busy. Sorry. So yeah, if you're doing it and you're doing it for months and you're not getting growth, I mean, it's like anything in life. If you're doing the same thing and getting bad results, then Don't don't keep doing it the same. Change it up, you know. Change it up. That I've totally lost where I was going with that, but that was. Anna, go and see Razor Red. She really wants to see you. Every time you come in here, I'm like, go and see Razor Red. Every time I go and see her, and she tells me you haven't been in, she's gutted. Anyway, we'll move on with. Oh, right. What was next? Okay. Quite good, actually. Ties in quite nicely. What would be the one piece of advice you would give to a brand new streamer, someone starting out right at the beginning? What's the one biggest bit of advice you would give them?
Right at the beginning. Okay, so always think about making better content. Like always, there's always, no matter who you are, there's always that something little that you can do a bit better. You can always get a bit better. So never think my stream is perfect. It can't get any more better. All of us can get better, especially when we start. There's so many technical things, small things, interactable things that you can always improve upon, and always like try to get better and try to grow not only on streaming but also on other platforms, because I feel like the big growths that you will see, like if you ever want to see massive growth on social media, you will have to grow also outside of like streaming. You will have to grow on other social medias, and it doesn't matter if it's Twitter, it doesn't matter if it's YouTube, Facebook, whatever, wherever you find your best growth, try to grow that, try to tap in why you're growing on that platform so well, and grow and make your image bigger somewhere else, because that's where you do the big growth, when you bring people in.
Yeah.
So always keep the mindset to keep improving and keep growing.
Yeah.
Inside and outside of Kick.
Yeah, and I think that's really good to focus on from the beginning, because you know, Kick is a platform. Kick is a platform. It is a place where we can put our content out there, but there is no algorithm here. There is no, you can't use hashtags to get yourself seen. You can't hit an algorithm and get more push. There's no kick or not push it, apart from the featured thing, which only happens to a small number of people. There's no push. There's no way of getting your shit pushed out. All the other social medias have that. They have algorithms, they have SEO, they have different ways that you can push yourself out there, and you can put in hard work to those to get seen. Here, all you can do is network and make your content and build relationships, which is great, but you need to utilize all those other tools that are out there for growth, because they're where the hard work actually leads to, you know, get you getting pushed.
Yeah. And also I feel like when you're a new creator, looking through like potential like holes in the platform that you could feel is really like useful. So when I started, when I started getting a little bit of a following and a small community, I tried to turn that into something by tapping into like certain like categories, for example, that didn't really have any streaming on them. But I know for a fact that there would be viewers if there were streamers. So one of the things that I already brought up earlier is I've been a big fan of Among Us, because I'm a bit of a sly guy.
And, sly guy.
Yeah, and I love to be a little bit of a murderer and lie about it in game.
In game, guys, in game.
In game, yeah. And I love that sort of games. And Among Us didn't really have anybody streaming at the time when I started, so I kind of filled a hole, because there were a lot of people who wanted to watch Among Us and play with streamers Among Us, because it's funny to see their reaction when you kill them, or when you fool them, or when they fool you, or they make a really nice play, and it's really nice to see that, and it's really nice to interact with them. So Among Us was one of the things where I felt like, okay, this category is absolutely empty, nobody's streaming it. There's once in a while there's a big streamer who already has a massive community who streams Among Us, but there isn't really many small communities. So me with 10 viewers is already gonna look like a good stream to watch if you open Among Us. If there's a bunch of streams with 0 and then there's one stream with 5 or 10, you're still gonna be like big name. In a way, you're
such a good way to look at it.
Platform. Yeah, and or if you're really into a game that isn't really that popular on the platform. When I started playing Overwatch was really small here. There was like one creator who got signed from Twitch, and then there was absolutely no one else. And there were a bunch of channels, but not really any medium size. They were all super small.
Yeah.
And I felt it was really easy to go and play Overwatch, just chill out and hang around, and people would come to see like Overwatch because they would come to see the game. And if you were a really nice personality, they would stick around. And like when the platform is this like new, it's really there's a lot of this kind of stuff that might be very big on Twitch that aren't done here at all, and you can tap into that and be the somebody who does that here, and really use the platform to grow yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. That's a really good way to look at it as well, especially with Kick, with the new platform and things. Hi, Mrs. Trippy, welcome in.
Hello.
Fox Goblin is in the Discord, is in my Discord. So if you want to, you could tag him and find him through the Discord that way if you want to connect. Sai, I see you, Sai, shaking that ass. Right. Okay, so what is one piece of streaming equipment in your setup that you couldn't live without? Like your favorite piece. I feel like you can't live without, people say like your microphone, because I can't stream without a microphone.
Yeah.
But like, what's your favorite thing? What's the thing that you just you're so happy to have in your setup that you love?
Okay, this is maybe very controversial take, but okay, so I'm not gonna lie, my equipment is like pretty bad. My microphone needs an upgrade, my everything needs an upgrade, but I do have like a decent like webcam. But one of the biggest differences I noticed is when I got streaming lights. These streaming lights were like $25, but it makes an absolutely huge difference with the lighting that I have. Like my room has horrible lighting, so having stream lights that I can, switch where I point them makes a huge difference. And I feel like lighting is very underrated when it comes to like making video quality good. And I personally feel that if I see a channel and their camera is very sharp, I don't know, I feel more like I want to watch them. I just feel like if somebody has very like high quality picture, I want to watch them more. And I feel like even with I paid like $100 for my webcam, although I did buy it used. But with like $150, you can actually get like a crazy good like video setup, because you don't need like a crazy camera for streaming anyway. Okay, you can get like a crazy camera, but like that's a bit like, is it necessary really? You could use that money maybe smarter.
Yeah, that's it. Like I have a crazy good camera, but I got it. I was gifted it. I got the ob spot tiny tube when they were sponsoring Kick Picks. It's like $350. Like there's no way at this point that I'd be spending that money on a camera at this point in my streaming career, but I'm very lucky to have it. But I get what you're saying with that. So
I definitely think and also when you have equipment like on your PC, kind of look into what you can do with it also, because for the longest time I didn't know if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you can use it as a green screen because it can remove your background with AI. And also you will have audio filters and stuff like that. So kind of look into the tech that you have and see if it has benefits for streaming. Like NVIDIA cards, they encode, they have filters, they have AI stuff, they have a bunch of stuff. And if you just look into it, you will see how much stuff they have, how many audio filters. Like my streaming microphone is absolutely horrible. It's it's very bad. But with the filters, it actually, if I just turn it up and then I add a bunch of filters to it, I can make it sound pretty good.
Yeah, mine's about to say, although I'm sitting here with a very expensive camera over to the side that I'm not using yet because I'm having technical difficulties with it. But I have the Razer Siren Mini, which I still sometimes game on PlayStation party chat with my friends. So when you're on there is absolutely no filters. And when I had this one on the boom mic, they couldn't listen to me because every single you could hear the vibration from the boom mic going through the microphone, and the background noise was awful. But then I come on here and add I use OBS filters on mine, and I get compliments on my sound all the time. So yeah, as well as like the technology that you've got, the OBS has, you know, YouTube's your best friend. OBS has so many filters and plugins that you can do amazing things with. I use them so much for like my hype and when my screens move and when you add all the thing, you know, just Google the shit out of it.
Yeah.
We're Skynet. Thank you so much for the host. Welcome in, Brian. How you doing? How's the new PC? How is the new PC? We don't, speaking of all those fancy things I do with my screens, we don't do it when we're doing Kick conversations. Just because you know, we get in the flow of the conversation. So, but we much appreciate you. Can I get a shout out?
Welcome in, right
For
there.
We're Skynet, please. Thank you so much, Miranda. OBS is so underrated, and I still, every month, I'm learning new things that you can do with OBS. I've only just added, I now have a vertical scene in my OBS, which I use to multi-stream to YouTube Shorts and TikTok. I'd already created one, like as a separate scene that I used as a virtual camera, but I now have it, like what I'm looking at right now, I've got the horizontal one you can see, and then I've got the vertical one as well. So when I'm gaming, I can now clip directly in vertical, and I can't tell you how much time that saved. Because I used to have my horizontal videos and I used to use one tool to turn that into a vertical video and then use another tool to add all the captions and edit and stuff like that. Now I just hit the button and it's a vertical clip. And I only just learned that like recently. There's so much that OBS can do. It's really daunting when you first start. But the more you learn, you know, like I say, YouTube is your best friend for stuff like that. Especially for recording for TikTok. Yeah, absolutely. And it's opening up my TikTok multi-streams as well. I'm finding it easier to add more, because I always used to feel like I was streaming on Kick, and Kick gets all the fancy stuff, and TikTok just got the basics. like there was no fancy things on the screen. But now I've managed to integrate it so that my TikTok alerts come up on my Kick screen as well, and vice versa, so that people can see what's going on both sides and things. There's just so much that you can do with it. Just make sure you explore that. Hi Lucky, I see you. Hi Red, thank you for that. Miranda was playing Fallout London. Oh, was you enjoying it? Is the new PC? The new PC is epic. I'm so glad to hear it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for bringing people over here. I appreciate you. If anyone's come over that doesn't know me, my name is Panda. I am a horror variety streamer here on Kick. I usually play games and chat nonsense. Every Friday we do Kick conversations, where we bring in another Kick creator and we talk about Kick and we talk about streaming, and that's what we're doing today. We have the lovely Coffee with us. His link is pinned to the top of the chat. Go and give him a follow. I promise you won't regret it, honestly. It's some of the best vibes on Kick. I just love hanging out on this crazy person. And talking to that, actually, I'm going to segue right into another question, which is just a little bit about your vibes and the crazy shit that goes down in your stream. You know, when I first met you, you had the hair that we saw you shaving off in your clip. You had the bowl cut fringe, which I fucking love. You need to bring it back. But you're always dressed in bright colors. I've seen you wearing 2 different dresses. I've seen you with your blonde.
Quite sexy.
You're always so high energy and doing crazy shit. Is that Coffee? Is that you in day-to-day life, or is some of it kind of exaggerated a little bit for the stream?
Well, obviously when I started streaming, it was like pretty authentically me, who I am in my normal life. And I when I hang out with people, I'm pretty like social and energetic and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say that it's me who like off stream. So kind of what I talked about, like tapping into what you feel is good about your content is I've kind of like build a character around my Kick stream.
Mm-hmm.
Like Coffee is in a way a little bit of a character. Mm-hmm. Even to a way when I press like start stream, even my talking like changes a little bit and how I behave, but it's kind of like me, but like turned to 100.
Yeah.
You know, it's like me 10 times what you would find me. Maybe how you would find me if I was on a party, maybe
Yeah.
absolutely drunk,
That's the
something like
vibe I've always got from you. Like
yeah,
definitely almost like a caricature of yourself. Like
yes, yeah,
you still come across so incredibly genuine, but I'm just like, nobody lives their life being this high energy 24/7. And I find that really interesting because, you know, we talk a lot about being your genuine self on stream, and I'm 100% me all the time. I mean, I don't put on panda glasses and dance around when I, you know, in real life, but you know, some days I'm a little quieter, some, you know, I'm just 100%. But then I sometimes find with like high energy people like yourself on stream that it is that it's not a character in such that you're being someone you're not. It's that you're taking who you are and you're taking those crazy bits that your community love and you're just amping them up, and you're again just leaning into them and making that your persona. And that's an amazing way to do it, because you keep that genuine feeling. And I've always had that from you, that I'm talking to the real. You go into some streams where people are super high energy and crazy and doing mad stuff, and you just get a little bit of a feeling that it's a show, that you know that it's not really them, and that they're just doing it for stream. And I can't connect to that. I don't like that. But you just hit the nail on the head. You know, it's just you turned up to 100, which I love. It's amazing. Definitely does on a night out.
I felt that really like fit me, that it just me, but like more high energy. But it is sometimes like very very demanding on me, because there will be days where I'll be high energy till to the end, and I'll be like, okay guys, we're gonna go raid, and then I'll be even hyped on the chat where I am, but I'll throw my head out, I take my stream clothes off, and I'll be on my chair like, oh my god,
it's gotta be exhausting, man.
Such an exhausting stream. Oh my god, I'm just gonna sit here the whole day and do nothing, be quiet, and you know, not be like I am at stream at all, you know. But it still is like me. But for example, I like Blue and Matu and Expo, they made me IRL, and I was not like I am on stream. I was like I am on IRL. And I feel like also when I meet people for the first time, I'm a bit more like held back also.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm super shy at first. I have quite bad social anxiety, and I'm so much more comfortable talking to people through a camera than I am than I am in real life, until I get comfortable, and then I'm just what you see here, you know.
Yeah.
I get that.
I feel like if I was there, like if we were like face to face doing this, I wouldn't be this energetic at all, because I would, if I hadn't met you before. But if I knew you, maybe I would be.
Yeah, it's just getting over that initial anxiety, isn't it? Yeah.
But the funniest thing was Expo said that after we met that, I didn't really think that Coffee would be this nice. I thought he would be a lot more rude. What do you mean?
Rude? What do you mean? Expo's a weirdo. My favorite weirdo on the planet, but still a weirdo.
I feel like the Finnish culture is kind of like, you know, held back and kind of like the embodiment of social anxiety. Like everybody like has their own personal space, and nobody's super talkative. I'm kind of not very that way, in a way Finn, that I'm a bit more maybe social than maybe your average Finn would be. And maybe Expo was scared that I'd be that way when we met IRL, but then I was pretty held back. And more like I am IRL. But so it is genuinely me, but maybe a bit more high energy, bit more turned up, more, and of course like all the crazy stuff that I might do, like shave my head. I wouldn't normally do that if I didn't do it for content.
Wear a dress? You know, do you often wear dresses in real life?
No, I don't often wear dresses, but I have done that before streaming. So
there you go. I love that. That was brilliant.
It wasn't new.
We also saw a little bit in the clips there of you doing some snowboarding. Do you do a lot of IRL stuff? Is that something you've kind of dipped into, or?
Well, mostly I'm like my content is variety gaming, and just chatting is something I do like pretty often. I usually like to start and end with just chatting, and sometimes it might like be a whole stream also. But I think IRL is usually like something special. Usually it's when I go on a vacation, I'll do an IRL if there's something like special that I could do. For example, snowboarding was really nice because the place we went to was like the biggest skiing resort in Finland. Like mountain was massive. and somehow we just made it like absolute blast because we were at the top of the mountain and I broke my snowboard binding and we were stuck at the top of the mountain. You can't script this. Of course, it happens on stream, and of course I fell on stream and my phone flew and was sliding on the ice and.
You can't. You can't script that stuff. That's good.
So yeah, but more of a like I like doing them, but it's more of a like special thing.
Yeah.
And I don't really have the equipment to do very like proper IRL streams. They're usually very short because I'll do them on my phone, and it'll like just eat my battery.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hours and I have to end because I don't have battery.
Yeah.
And like if I'm snowboarding, can't really have like a battery connected to my phone. What we did last time is we went snowboarding, then we went to get a couple of drinks, and we were charging my phone while we were doing that.
Yeah.
And then we went back to snowboarding. But yeah. It's kind of like I like doing them, but it's usually a special occasion.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually ask like before I'm leaving on a trip, I'll ask chat like, okay, so if I went if I went swimming, would you want to see swimming IRL? And everyone's like, Coffee, that's a bad idea. You lose your phone. And I'm like, okay, maybe you're right. But then I'll be like, I have selfie stick. If I go snowboarding, is that a good idea? And they're like, yes, go do that. And
I think it's really nice. Something I've looked into. I did one a couple of weeks ago when I went out for a walk. And I want to start doing like one a week because I'm looking to try and get a little bit healthier and start walking and getting out. I've fallen into the trap of being a full-time content creator who never leaves the house, and my fitness has taken a real hit. And I thought, why not tie that in? I live in a beautiful part of Scotland, and within like an hour or 2 hours drive, there are so many cool places that I could show people. And I thought, why not tie that in with doing some IRL streams, and I tried it out just to see what it was like with the 5G and stuff. So it's something I've ordered some little bits, but like I say, I will have the very basic camera. Like I've ordered a selfie stick with a tripod and a little microphone, and that's about it really. Portable charger is another thing I ordered. So yeah, I think it's a really nice way for people to get. It's not something I would ever do full time, but I think it's a really nice way for people to get a bit of insight into other parts of you and see you out in the real world and things. I think it's really good for connecting with your community.
Yeah, but it was also kind of awkward to be in a social space. So when I was streaming like on the ski resort, I had TTS on out of the speaker, and people everybody was staring at me. Like there were a time like more than 10 people just staring at me on my selfie stick, talking to chat, and everybody was like, who's this guy? There were like a bunch of kids that would like come behind me just to see like who I am and get on the lift with me and just stare at me, and I'd just be like, I'm talking to chat.
Yeah, I bought new Bluetooth headphones specifically so that TTS can be in my ears. Yeah, I didn't have it switched on when I tried it out. I had the chat on the screen, so I was like, I'm not doing that. But it was still quite funny because I just went for a little walk down a river, and I sat down on a bench to speak to chat. And while I was sitting there, these two people you couldn't script it. These two people in canoes appeared, and right in front of where I was sitting, started getting out of their canoes, and I'm sitting with a camera like this, like talking to myself, and I'm like, I'm not filming you, I promise. Like they were on it when they because I was filming the river when they came in, and I was like, I flipped the camera, they're not watching you get out with the boat, and I'm sitting chatting to chat feeling like a ninny, but they just smiled and laughed. There's nothing negative there. So Miranda, thank you for being here. Welcome in, Kiana. How we doing? Okay,
but I also feel, since we are not like big creators, if you're out like doing IRL and people like stare at you and notice you, it's still a very weird feeling, because at least I'm not like used to, because in Finland people don't stare at you ever. So when people get your eyes on you, I'm like, okay, well, this feels weird. And I feel not being like super like energetic and me like stream me when everybody's just looking at me, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like weird, because of course we are so small that nobody's gonna like recognize us IRL if Expo doesn't drive me over or something.
That's how it is with our
so
I love
it's
you,
still a very like weird feeling.
I can imagine. Miranda, I love you and James's IRL stuff. I love watching it. And I think it's really nice to show, because you do have people from all over the world coming in, and it's nice to show a little bit of what, like, because I watched Miranda and James doing their IRL stuff, and like they're walking around this, and even just walking down the street in America looks completely different to walking down the street in Scotland. And I find that really interesting to watch, and just see a normal street on a normal day in another country. With people that you know, like a streamer that you relate to and that you know, I find it really interesting. I thought maybe people would like to see I could take them some cool places. I think it's a really interesting thing to add to a stream. Right, next question.
Yeah.
What do you think is key to building a strong community? What do you think is the most important thing? So hi, Piana.
I've been thinking about this a lot, but I don't know if I'm knowledgeable enough about this. I don't know. Maybe me. It's really hard. I feel like relatability is really, really important. Of course, like being entertaining is really, really important when bringing people in. But I feel like I have a struggle of having a lot of people come in and notice me, but having more of a like that it's easy. It comes easy to me. New people, getting to interact with new people, but building a solid community seems like the hard bit for me. I don't know if I have many tips for that other than be relatable, get to know the people, and be very interactable is what I've noticed to be the most like working method. And I try to like give people a lot of like ability to interact with me even off stream. So I have my stream only Snapchat, I have my Discord, I have my Instagram, and pretty much everywhere I have open DMs, open comments, open everything. Like anybody can add me on Snapchat, and I add them back, and I'll send them pictures, and they'll send me a pic back. And it's like anybody can interact with me very easily. And I feel like giving people the ability to like interact with you really helps with it, and they get to like feel like they're part of your community, especially when you start building a community from scratch and you maybe don't have the community that already backs you up. So let's say you have a Discord server, but there's not a lot of activity, but you interact with everybody who comes in, and you interact with everybody on Snapchat. They will get the feeling that okay, there is a community that you know they are a part of, and they see everybody like how you interact with other people, and they feel like they could also be interacting with you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think I always kind of fall back to the whole like being yourself, being relatable, and being yourself for me are the keys to it. Because community is all about making connections, isn't it? So being yourself. Something we spoke about last week with Astronerd, about you spoke about your DMs being open and Snapchatting everyone back and things like that. Do you ever consider, if you do grow to a certain size and you have this way of doing things where you're so accessible to people, do you ever consider how that will work if you get bigger, and you're aware of being careful of how much access you do give your community to you, because you've got to have that line between life and streaming, and I know that some of the bigger streamers have their DMs tightly shut. They still interact and they still make you feel welcome, but once you get where's that line of to where you have to keep part of yourself for you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Something that I saw on Twitter was when there was I don't know if you know the Minecraft creator Dream. He's a very big YouTuber, and he had his own SMP server that was the biggest SMP of the time. I think he has more than 10 million YouTube subscribers.
Yeah.
And he got into drama about like he got accused of talking to minors or something. I don't exactly remember what it was, but it got debunked anyway. But people were going at him for even DMing fans at all, or having open DMs for fans. And he talked about like how streaming and content creator is for a big streamer versus a small streamer. And he said that when you're a smaller streamer, to be able to grow his community, he gave people the access to interact with him a lot more than what he has now.
Yeah.
So basically, since he didn't have the community who talks already, who other people can interact with on his Discord or on his Instagram or his Snapchat. There wasn't a lot of comments, there wasn't a lot of people talking, or there wasn't a big activity. He would kind of create the activity by giving people access to like his DMs and stuff like that. And he said that when he was small, it was a really working method of growing that small community around him.
Yeah.
But as he started blowing up, he would close it off.
Yeah.
But maybe keep the people who made it into that small circle when he started, and those people kind of became special because they were the people who he got to know. So the way I've thought about it is I'll keep them open, but of course I'll remove any inappropriate stuff. And I don't believe I have anybody under the age of 18 added on Snapchat.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it might be weird if people add me who are under the age of 18, at least, just because for safety reasons for them.
Of course.
But I feel like if this were to blow up, I would probably not add more people on Snapchat, but would keep the people who are already added. I would close off my Discord DMs, but keep the people who are added on my Discord as added, because they are, in a way, they made it into the inside circle for being 100%, early.
Yeah. That's exactly how I look at it. Exactly the same. I feel like you've got your close circle, your close knit circle, and that's what we're building just now. We're still in that stage of building that, and that again, that'll be the foundation of if we do ever blow up and get that big numbers, that'll be the foundation. And I look at it exactly the same way as you, because people have said to me, do you worry about giving so much access to you to other people? Because I'm always saying, if when we talk about mental health, I quite often say, my DMs are open if you want to talk. We talk about people having streaming issues, I say the same thing. People say, do you not worry about giving too much? And I'm like, well, not right now. Exactly the same as you. I feel like if it ever did happen, then it'd be perfectly okay to kind of close the doors a little bit and keep that close-knit community and kind of stop it for everyone else. Yeah. Basically, I agree. You just said everything I would say.
Yeah. Because I do find that like it's important to have like more like interactions with community when you're building a smaller community. But once you actually like grow out and everything is going crazy, you can't really have that. Because it's just, then it's a different situation.
It's just not possible. No. And as you're building that small community, those people you give the access to yourself to will become more interactive, and they're the ones that will start being the ones that are interacting in your Discord. They're the ones that will be reaching out. They reach out to each other, and they're that's what building the community is. Like you say, you have to put yourself in there and be in the absolute center of it to start with, but eventually you will attract the right kind of people who will do it themselves, and that's community.
Yeah. And I also feel like when you're like part of a like starting streamers community, it's like special because you'll get to interact with them a lot more. And if they ever were to blow up, just knowing that you were there, knowing you're like an OG, you've been there when the community wasn't big, is something special. And I feel like like people who chat with you, chat with me, with anybody who's actually like growing a lot on social media, they should hold on to these moments, because you never know when that viral clip goes out and everything blows out of proportion, and nothing's ever the same again. And just know that like even if you aren't OG right now, if that were to happen, you are the OGs.
Absolutely. It's special, isn't it?
And you're the special people for the streamer.
Absolutely. Okay, so when it comes to streamers that you watch, what do you look for in a streamer that you enjoy watching? What is it that draws you to somebody? And not just like, I know we all have streamers who we've become friends with, and we watch them because they're our friends and we like to sit and chat with our friends. But like aside from friendship, what is it that pulls you in and makes you want to watch a stream?
Well, it kind of depends. I do play some games competitively. So, for example, I played Counter-Strike for almost 10 years. So sometimes I'll watch a Counter-Strike streamer because they're good at the game. I'm
Mhm.
one of those people who love to watch good gamers and get like advice, like educational content.
Mhm.
But also like before I started like streaming, I never really watched small channels. But now that I watch smaller channels, I see the incentive on being like having the interaction with the streamer. Because if when I'm watching a big streamer, like if I'm watching XQC, he's never gonna see my chat. So the only chats that I would ever drop would be like he does something funny and I drop a kick W. But
Yeah.
it's like a kind of like a different kind of uh, whole different world. Like
Yeah.
the chat interactions are mostly like based on like emotes and you just see kick W's fly by because something funny happened,
Yeah.
or you say something stupid and everybody drops like a what the heck emote, you know.
Yeah.
But just the fact that you know somebody who is very responsive,
Mhm.
very good with the words, but also I like watching funny people. It's just if somebody has
Yeah.
the same kind of humor as I do enjoy watching them.
Yeah.
But also it is a fact that I like to watch more streamers who play similar stuff to me.
Mhm.
I have a lot of friends who play a lot of Warzone, and I love to watch them for who they are, but sometimes I get bored because they'll be playing a game I don't play personally.
Yeah.
So also stuff that I do play and I have played is or stuff that I would want to play are like stuff that I like watching.
Mhm.
And I'd say horror is really good because horror is like you don't always have the guts to play horror.
Yeah.
Watching horror is always fun.
A lot of people
So,
say that to me. A lot of people say that they watch
yeah.
me because I play the games they're too scared to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to watch Five Nights at Freddy's, but
Mhm.
never really play. I had only played Five Nights at Freddy's 1, but I went and played through all of them,
Yeah.
except for the VR ones because I don't have a VR headset,
Mhm.
and it's a whole different experience when you're actually playing it.
Yeah.
But I kind of
Absolutely.
did fell in love with some horror games like Iron Lung, for example, from playing it myself because it gives you like a very different experience.
Mhm.
And it's like when you find a random game that feels like special in that way, it's kind
Yeah.
of funny. And I also feel like sometimes you don't really understand why some game is special, but if you and even while watching it, you don't really get why so many people like it. And for me, one of those things was Undertale, and then I went ahead and I played Undertale, and I was like, oh my god, this game is such a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And but it's like, you know, it's and then that made me want to watch Undertale content, but it's, you know.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. There's so much to it. Like for me, it's a lot about the vibes. There are certain games when I had more time. When I first got my PC and started playing, like I was really obsessed with Phasmophobia, and now I still play it. I've got nearly 700 hours on it now, and it's the only game that I can claim to be good at. But a lot of that came from watching other streamers. I would watch bigger streamers. I still follow someone on Twitch, and some of those who've come over to Kick as well. I still watch the bigger streamers occasionally. I still follow them, but I spent a lot of time watching bigger streamers playing that, and because again I learned from it and I enjoyed, because I was new to the game and I was learning and I loved learning stuff from them. But most of the reasons why I really want to tune into a stream, if it's not just because it's a friend and I want to hang out with them, because you're always going to get that chatty vibes when it's somebody you're close with. No matter what game they're playing, you want to watch them because it's like hanging out with your pals. Aside from that interaction and that vibes, and I found myself at the moment really drawn to really chilled out streamers, because a lot of the time when I'm watching a stream for a long time, I'm working on other things at the same time.
Yeah.
And anyone who's got chill vibes, I found something that I never noticed before, is that I notice the music that people play. Because I'm doing other things, I might be editing videos. So if someone's playing like crazy loud, heavy music all the time, my brain can't cope with that when I'm doing other things. But if they've got like lower music that's just a chill vibe, then that really works for me. If they're just chatting, at the moment I watch quite a lot of Razor Red in the afternoons. Because her vibes are, she's always got the chill vibes going on. She's an artist. I think the art streamers are something I'm quite drawn to at the minute, again just because of the vibes. And because I can multitask. But then if I'm not doing something else, then I love the high energy, you know, someone who makes you laugh constantly, and like yourself. I'd love to come and hang out and just sit and laugh and be kind of like, how do you find the energy to
Yeah.
you know, but again, like so much else we've spoken about today, it comes down to who the streamer is as a person and the vibes that you put out there. And there's something for everyone. Not everyone looks for the same things in a stream, and not everyone looks for the same things all the time. Like I say, I've just given the perfect example of that. You know, sometimes I might want to watch a quiet vibe stream. Sometimes I might want to watch a friend no matter what they're playing, and sometimes I might want to like properly hang out and enjoy the chaos of someone else's high energy stream. So if you just stick to being yourself and doing things your way, then there'll always be viewers there who want what you're putting out there.
Yeah, I always like when there's creators who you also like, you kind of know what you're getting into when you start watching them, that their content is like it's like consistent enough to like every time you go to Coffee stream, you know, Coffee is gonna have the high energy vibes. You know, like I'd say 90% of the time I'll be like their high energy, you know, blasting some EDM and you know bouncing around while I play, or chatting about something and you know laughing and making cracking jokes and stuff like that. Sometimes I find that I'll go watch somebody and they will be very up and down and very very different every time I like go watch them, and that's fine. But sometimes I feel like I want to go watch somebody because I know what I'm getting. And I'll feel like, okay, I want to have a nice little just chatting session, so I'll go watch this person because he always does that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
absolutely.
You know, you mentioned Phasmophobia and you asked why did I start streaming, and I realized that I had completely forgotten that when Phasmophobia came out, I bought the game because a Finnish streamer was streaming it on YouTube and he was doing viewer games, so I got in them and I played viewer games with him. And I remember I was interacting with the streamer and chat liked me and my vibes. And I was like, I could maybe stream. Yeah.
Really
but
cool.
I completely,
we forget these things. That's so cool though. That's great.
And I remember leaving because I wanted to give somebody else space to play. And chat was like, we want that guy back. He was such a vibe. And I was like, oh my God.
I love that.
Maybe I should do this.
Yeah, that's so cool. So you still have Phasmophobia? I do. We need to play sometime. We need to play sometime.
Yeah, we do. But I haven't gotten like super into it after the legacy stuff. Like I'm still kind of out of it.
Yeah,
I've only played it a couple of times, and I have no.
I had watched it so. I got my PC in March last year when before I streamed on Kick, and I was just doing the duo streaming that I do on Twitch. But I'd started watching a couple of streamers who played Phas, and I loved it so much, and I was so excited to be able to play it myself when I got my PC, and it lived up to its expectation. Let's say 700 hours later. It's such a fun game. I did kind of neglect it for a while because I got caught up in the whole world of all the other horror games that are out there, but I've gone back to it this last week and I love it so much. We'll have to get a game sometime. That would be a laugh. Right, I'm gonna catch up on some comments there. Mrs. Trippy said, I learned a lot from somewhat bigger streamers. Yeah, you definitely can. You can definitely learn, whether it's about streaming or it's about a certain game, you can definitely learn from bigger streamers and just from more experienced streamers, not necessarily bigger, just if they've been doing it a bit longer. There's always something that you can learn from them, for sure. Red played.
I really gotta pee. Can I go pee?
Yeah, go pee. It's fine. I'm gonna start including that in my message before we start. Where please go pee when you need to, but don't forget to take your headset off. We don't want to hear it.
Yep.
We don't need to hear the pee. Red, you played for the first time last night. You were terrified. Honestly, when I first played it, I was so fucking scared. You guys watch me play it now, and I'm very, very rarely scared by it. But when I first started, I was fucking terrified. Like, I remember standing outside Tanglewood, like 6 foot away from the door, too scared to cross the threshold because I just didn't understand. I didn't know when the ghost was going to get me. I was absolutely fucking terrified. And like all the confidence I've got has just come through time. Oh, thanks so much. Panda has such a lovely community. Oh, I love you too, Kiana. You guys make it wonderful. You're the ones that make it wonderful. I agree. I found unrecommended and I haven't left yet, and I don't plan to. Oh, Trippy, I love you. I love you. I used to play Faz years ago and started up again yesterday. It feels like a whole new game. It's definitely changed a lot. I'm a mid-energy streamer, but there's space for all energies of streamer. You know, there's space for low energy, mid energy, high energy, and a little mix of all of it. And you know, like I say, there's some times when I'm busy and I just really can't cope with high energy because it's too much for my brain. But there's times when I really want that, and I love the entertainment that I get from it. You know, there's a place for every type of streamer. Right, the second I found Panda, I had this amazing feeling about her. I'm so happy I met the lovely human being. Oh, look how cute she is. Stop it! Stop it! I'm a clever sausage. Stop it! My partner would die and I wouldn't go back in. Got my ass in the van and peeked out. I love it and peaced out. I love it. Stop it, you lot. Yeah, you should play. Come play with me. I literally panic once the light starts flickering. I always die for it. Yeah, that panic when it takes a lot. Like I always say when somebody new starts playing, if they're playing with me or if they're just talking about it, like there's stages you go through. Like once you figure out how to tell the difference between like a hunt and an event, and once you figure out how to hide, those are the really big things that take away the fear. Once you become confident at hiding and confident, I mean, sometimes I still get hunts and events muddled up. But once you can recognize those things a little bit and you can hide confidently, then the whole game changes for you. The whole game completely changes. And once you can use that incense as well, so when the hunt does happen and you can successfully save yourself using an incense, that's another turning point. But it all just takes practice and many, 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 many deaths. Lights flicker and I'm gone. I used to be the same. It's like my brain loses it with the light. I suddenly forget. You forget where the high. Do you know? Here's a hint for you. Since we're talking Faz, what I used to do when I was learning was find the hiding spaces that were closest to the ghost room, and I'd put a torch or a UV light, like a UV glow stick, but like pointing towards the hiding space. So when the lights start flickering and you panic and your brain goes, ah, there's something to look for. You could look for that torch and you can find it easier. And that's what I used to do to help me get over that fear. There's hiding spots. Just had to run to the door. Don't run to the door. The ghost locks the door when it's hunting, Red. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. I love horrors. Never get scared. Don't know what it is about that game. It is a unique one. Lurkin, I love the Faz with Cupcake Time. Oh, you guys have fun playing Faz. It does take time to get good at anything. In fact, we just chatted about Faz the whole time you were away.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's my next question? What are your favourite snacks when you're streaming? And what do you use to hydrate? Coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee. Just
of
coffee.
Course, I just got a coffee while I was doing the deed. So I used to snack a lot more. But one of the things I did not like about watching back my streams was that the me eating always. But so I very rarely eat these days while I'm streaming. Usually I take a little pause where I say like I go to the bathroom, I make a coffee, and I'll have a little snack.
Yeah.
I very rarely eat on camera anymore because I didn't like it myself. So
yeah.
I don't know.
That's a very
I used
personal thing that I think a lot. I doesn't bother me. I'm always eating on stream, but I get it. Some people don't like to do it. They're not comfortable with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like. I felt it like killed my vibes and my flow when I ate. Yeah. And I don't know. It just distracted everything that I did too much maybe. So usually I just have the coffee to give me a boost in energy when I need it, and keep up the image.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But yeah, I don't really know.
Coffee.
And I don't like I don't like snacks that like make a huge mess. So I don't really like eating chips while I'm on my gaming station because like my mouse is white and my keyboard's white, so I don't wanna have them all yellow and all that. So
yeah,
I don't really know. There's a Finnish treat that's like black licorice. I kind of like those. They're usually very small, so you can chew them really, really fast, and they don't really make any mess. So I kind of like those, but I don't know.
Awesome.
I don't really have that many snacks. Just coffee and
just coffee. Coffee's all you need.
Yeah.
Coffee is all you need.
Like
and water. That's important.
I have like there it is. I have a big bottle that it's not filled right now, but I usually fill this before the stream, and I usually empty it at the end, before the end.
Must stay hydrated. So it's important.
Yes.
Panda likes
and
pickles. I do fucking
important with coffee, because like coffee actually dries you up quite a bit. So drinking coffee, you also need to drink
water. Yeah. I do not like pickles. You can shove your pickles up your bum, Red. I hate pickles. I literally have a t-shirt in my shop that says I hate pickles because they're always trying to make me eat pickles or drink pickle juice. So I've got this sitting here for a sub goal this month. Okay, pickle
I was
juice.
about to say you need to have it as a sub goal.
Oh, I do. I've like Branston pickle. I don't know if you have Branston pickle in Finland. That's like, I don't know how do you explain it. It's like a chutney, but it's pickles. It's just gross. I hate it. And it was on my wheel for ages to have a teaspoon of it, and I've gone through like a jar and a half of the stuff. It's fucking disgusting. But this month we have pickle juice and we have actual pickles going on the sub goals. I hate them so much. It makes me feel sick. But they like to watch us suffer, don't they?
They do.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think they like to see us suffer so much?
I don't know. They're sadistic.
Yeah, that's so true.
No, I don't know. It's entertaining somehow to see somebody go through something disgusting or something. I don't know.
It is. I love watching other people do it. So I don't.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
I don't know why, probably because I don't deal well with spicy stuff. People just love when I eat spicy stuff, so I always eat spicy stuff and die.
I really struggle with spicy. Like my palate just doesn't cope with anything even slightly spicy. So I once, very early days on Kick, did a teaspoon of hot sauce and I nearly died. So at that point, I said I'm never doing it again. However, this month I have bought a packet of Takis Fuego, and I am going to be adding that to my sub goal. I've given in. It's only taken a year. It's only taken a year for them to convince me to add spicy back in, but it's so stupid because I'll suffer so much and I'll regret it, because literally, like, why? You know, chili con carne. I don't know if you have chili con carne, but it's not that spicy, right? I can't eat it without like a massive spoonful of sour cream on the side. I have to have something to cool it down, and there's virtually no spice in it. Like, I'm such a wimp. I wish my palate was different, but I can't handle anything even slightly spicy, so it's gonna be weird. Ara, no belly buttons for you. We keep the belly button troll because he's famous. He used to be around in the early days when I first started on Kick. He would go on all the female streamers asking to see their belly buttons. And he's become like the thing of legends, so we don't ban him. He gets to stay. He turned up again recently, and we decided to let him stay.
Have you heard about the poop guy?
There's a poop guy?
Yeah, so I used to have this regular who would come in every single day to ask me, "Hey, Coffee, have you pooped today? And how was the consistency?" Every single day.
That's brilliant.
I would tell them in great detail, and I once even took a picture of deer poop for him, just for him. Oh
wow, I love that. They're the fun ones, though, aren't they?
It's gone now, but me and Josie are keeping the legacy going.
I love it. Absolutely love it. They're the fun ones. They're the fun trolls. Yeah, don't mind them hanging about. Okay, so if you could make your own game, what would it be like?
Ooh, see, I've had this dream of making a really, really scary horror game, because I feel like horror games have gone to a worse direction. So maybe a horror game, but at the same time I'm kind of I'm kind of torn apart, because at the same time I'm a very like competitive shooter kind of guy, but I don't feel like I don't see the open hole on competitive shooters where I would like to strike. But I see like
so what would your horror be like?
See, okay.
So I'm a horror
So I gotta
streamer. Sell
explain-
it to me.
Yeah, okay. So if you talk about Five Nights at Freddy's now, it's like, you know, barely horror, okay? But when Five Nights at Freddy's 1 came out and nobody understood what was happening and everybody played it without understanding how the game works, there was this certain feeling of helplessness when you're in the office, you don't know when they're coming, you can't really use your utility because you're running out of battery. You're constantly checking the doors because you're scared. You check the cameras, you can't find them, and the feeling of like helplessness, like I can't do anything. They're coming.
Yeah.
And you run out of battery, and they're at the door, and I don't have battery. That one guy's running at me, and the feeling that you can't do anything, and you're stuck, and you don't have the like utility to fight. You can't fight anything off. You can't run away from anything, and you're very limited on what you can do. And you're like, I felt like when you started the game for the first time and you hadn't really, you maybe had watched one person and you played it yourself, you couldn't really get it done. The game had such like tight like timing and like the way it like threw things at you that it kept you like on your toes. And I the helplessness feeling made it scary to me. And I've said that the reason why I liked Iron Lung is because it had kind of simulated the same feeling for me, because it was kind of like a build-up. I don't know if you played the game. It's an indie horror game.
I haven't yet. No, I think you recommended it a while ago, but I just end up with so many games to play. I haven't got around to it. I have to.
I used to say that I have two goals in life: make everybody play Iron Lung and make everybody watch Attack on Titan. But yeah, but something among those lines. I don't know exactly what it would be, but like the general idea of like simulating that feeling would be the way to go.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. I've only played, I haven't played all the FNAFs. I played the first one like long ago because my kid, when they were younger, wanted to play it. So I played it to see. My kid's never been easily scared by anything. But I still wanted to check it to see if it was too scary for them, or it wasn't. And then a couple months ago, I did a sub goal to play FNAF 4 in the dark, and I mean pitch black. We turned off every single light in this room. We only had the light of the gaming monitor, and I had a infrared camera so that people could see my reactions. And it was fucking terrifying at first. And I think that's the thing for me, because I play a lot of horror. I'm terrified until I know what to expect. So what you've said is so true. I'm so scared at the beginning, and the screams that came out of me the first couple of times were massive. I was absolutely terrified, and every time you got on a new night and there was something new, that scared me. And then we got stuck on the last night on FNAF 4, and it was just so hard, and I just got to the point where I was like, I wasn't scared anymore. I was pissed off because I couldn't do it. You know, the fear drops away. But for me, you can't beat that initial fear. But you're right, it absolutely comes from the unknown, and from whether it's not knowing what's going to happen or not knowing what you can do, or you know how it's going to be. That is what creates fear. And any game that can keep that going, for me, is a killer horror game. You know, it's great when you can experience it at all. If a game can keep that going for the whole game, then that's a masterpiece for me. You know, to be able to still build the tension and still keep the person guessing, especially if it's someone like me who plays a shit ton of horror. If you can still keep me guessing right up till the end and keep me scared, then that's an achievement.
I've always felt that like FNAF kind of had the issue that they couldn't really keep it scary for a long time. It was scary, super scary initially, at least for me, because I hadn't really watched a lot of people play it. But everybody, like, if you go play FNAF 1, everybody knows what it's gonna be. So you have the expectations and you know kind of the tools already. But without knowing what you're doing, it was actually like very scary, the helplessness you got. But I felt like after playing FNAF 1, FNAF 2 was just like, okay, I have more stuff to deal with. But it's not really scary. It's more like task simulator, you know. FNAF 3 was trash in my opinion. But I kind of played them for the story more than the horror. They even turned into like not that much of a horror game for me, because it was like once you learn the task at hand, you kind of you just keep doing it, and it's not really scary. I guess I could say Sister Location, Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location, because it was like story based and changed every night, was maybe the scariest, because each night there was a different kind of task that you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But I like the first one most, maybe because of how it initially was.
Mhm.
But I do like Security Breach, but I wouldn't even categorize it as a horror game because it's more of a story
I really want to
game.
play that one. See, that's the thing, you know, people talk. I call myself a horror streamer, but a lot of the games I play, people wouldn't necessarily categorize as horror because a lot of people see horror as it's going to scare the shit out of you constantly. But for me, horror is a much wider category. You know, for me, what I class as horror, that I would play as a horror game, is kind of anything spooky, eerie. You know, even if it's a scary story, zombies, anything that's kind of in that genre. But the ones that scare the living shit out of you are another level.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, it changes no matter how long you play a game. We just spoke about Phasmophobia while you were at the toilet there, and I said how much it scared the shit out of me when I first started. Like, I was too scared to go in the house. And now I play solo nightmare mode on any map. You know, I don't always win, but the fear is not the same. I still get the occasional jump scare because those ghosts will still sometimes jump up when you're not expecting it. But I don't get any of that feeling of dread about going into the you know, that's gone. And Dead by Daylight's another one. I play a lot of Dead by Daylight, even more so off stream. And I was just speaking to my friend about it last night, actually, because like when we first started playing, I was so scared of all the killers when I was a survivor. Yeah. That was so scary. You know, when you were being chased, and when the ones that are stealthy that pop up out of nowhere, and like you've got the doctor. I don't know if you've played it, but the doctor puts like hallucinations of himself that'll just appear in front of you, and they used to scare the shit out of me. I would be so unnerved, and now it just doesn't, unless again it's a jump scare from a stealth killer, because it's literally you're just not expecting it. I have no fear playing it at all. They brought out a temporary mode a while ago. I can't remember what it was called now, but you played in the dark. You had no add-ons, nothing extra. Everything was silent. There was no terror radius. There was no nothing. It was so scary. It was like it was scary again because you know you didn't know what to expect. So I think it's difficult to hold on to make a good horror game that will scare everyone forever. It's why I love indie horror so much as well, because when you play an indie horror game, even if the game's not that great as a whole, it will be good in one way or another. Like, it might have really good jump scares, which are good fun and make good content, or it might have a really good story, or it might have like really good atmosphere building, so you do feel that feeling of dread and not knowing what's going to happen. And when you find an indie horror that's got all of those things, it's like you feel like you found the golden ticket. I love it.
Yeah,
I really enjoy trying out the different ones and understanding the different aspects of horror. So
yeah. And I feel like sometimes people judge like certain games because they have like the expectation of getting scared. Like, you know, I heard that a lot of people said
thank you for the raid, Fozzie. Sorry. Thank you so much. Welcome in. Thank you for the raid. We see you.
Welcome in, everybody.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so I heard a lot of people say like Security Breach was the worst, like because it wasn't scary. But if you go into it expecting it to be more of a story game and not be that scary, like I did, you'll get a lot more out of the game. But if you're expecting in all scenarios that you're gonna get super scared, you're not gonna get that much out of the game.
Yeah.
But I also see that the game is pretty flawed with like a lot of bugs, which kind of takes away from like. They rushed the development of the game, so it got released too early. So they fixed a lot of the bugs, but like I watched early content from it, and it was like horrendous how bad the game ran.
No.
But firstly, you need a super good computer. My old rig didn't run it too well. Like I was running low on like 40 FPS, and it also has like very long load times. That it's an open world, but when you're moving through an area, it will like freeze to load the new area in.
Right.
So
okay.
The optimization is kind of like bad.
Yeah.
But I still got the like when I looked, I had it in me to look past all of that and enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
And it was more of like this like mystery. You know, you would find little bits and pieces of the story, and you could like put it together on your own. And I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like I say for me, the horror genre, that I think there's space for for all kinds of different horror games in there. Like you talk about your story mode. Like Last of Us I class The Last of Us as a horror game.
Yeah.
But it's so heavily story based, and there's very little jump scares in it. There's some moments of like panic. You get that, like your Outlast trial style horror, where it's not necessarily jump scares. It's just like the fear of being chased and things. But ultimately, Last of Us is 100% a story game. But because of the setting, and it's set with the zombies. They're not zombies, but you know what I mean. For me, that puts it in the horror category, and that's why I love it so much, because I always said when I started streaming I would never pigeonhole myself into a category. I would always be a variety streamer. I feel like horror is a unique pigeonhole, because there's so much within that genre. Like I have like 12 different co-op horror games that I love to play with my friends that are all different ideas. Your Phasmophobias, Lethal Company, which again I still class it as a horror game because there are monsters and you get jump scares, so that makes it horror to me. You know, there's Forewarned, there's Killer Clowns is a great one that's come out, Dead by Daylight, and then you've got all your big story ones like Last of Us and Days Gone, Alone in the Dark, and then you've got all your indie horrors, which you could go on about forever, and then you've got classic horrors like Five Nights at Freddy's. You know, it's such a huge range, and it means that I'm not constantly doing the exact same. You know, I'm not always playing super scary games and getting jump scares. Sometimes I'm interacting with other people, sometimes I'm doing puzzly stuff, sometimes I'm doing a story game, but it's all still kind of under that umbrella of horror, which is why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Did someone say Phasmo?
Sure.
Yeah, we had a big long chat about Phasmo. Yeah.
One thing I've been like looking for a long time. Maybe I should have said this on what kind of game I would be making. Is I'd really want a horror multiplayer game where one of the players is the killer. I'd really like one of those games, but I've been looking for a game like that. I've tried a couple ones, but I really want one where the killer has very good tools to be scary.
Yeah.
And the idea of the game would be to try to scare them, because I remember like back in the day when Finnish YouTube was like its own little bubble. One thing that they really like to play is Gmod had this like Slenderman mod, and basically the idea was you were supposed to catch like the people by staring at them, but they kind of made their own twist on it because you could turn invisible and then appear when somebody wasn't watching, and what they tried to do is get reactions out of others by like going into a room where they were going and appearing there to scare them. And it really gave me the feeling that like it's actually because the like killer or chaser has so much more abilities and you have so little, because you didn't have any way to fight back, that it's actually like scary.
Yeah.
But like I've tried a couple of games. There was a game, Project Playtime, I believe, where you were. I don't know if
Poppy Playtime.
Yeah, but there was a multiplayer version
of
that game.
Okay, no, I haven't played that. Oh no, that's a new one to me.
I don't know if it was very early in development. I think it was in beta when I tried it, but it was really, really like super like just run away and hide, but not really scary game. Like you could hear the monster miles away, and the monster had some crazy abilities like seeing through walls and stuff, and you had to use like little places to run away from. It could be a fun game with a couple of streamers, but it just felt like a game where the killer is OP and you never get to do the tasks. It felt like Among Us, where everybody knows who the killer is and the killer wins every time. Because it made like a huge sound when you were doing one of the tasks. They were always at the same spots and the killer knew them beforehand.
Yeah.
And then the killer had like super fast movement and crazy abilities to get everybody.
Yeah, the balance. I think the balance is hard to get with these kind of games. It's definitely tricky.
That game could be fun with some creators. Maybe you gotta put some ideas.
There you go. Watch the space.
The game was free, so that's nice.
So we spoke earlier about Kick and about how they're growing. We're kind of coming close to the last couple of questions now. So we spoke about about what they're doing and what they're working on for the future and things. And is there things that you know are coming? And we kind of touched on it, but we'll go again. Is there things that you know that are coming, or that you really want to see that we don't have on Kick? I know you mentioned like the drops and things, but is there anything else that you feel like is missing or is coming that you're excited about?
Yeah, well, drops is obviously the biggest thing for me. I'd say like it's something I wanted ever since I started streaming. I was like, having Twitch drops would be awesome. Well, since I'm on Kick, that's not a thing. So that's something I've been like anticipating the whole time I've been a streamer, that maybe one day, because I remember seeing like when there was a big Rust event and there were Twitch drops for the Rust creators. I remember finding a guy who had like 10 viewers and like interacting him with a little bit and talking about the event that he didn't get into but still got the like Twitch drops, and him talking about like how much more engagement that has brought him, and now he's one of the biggest Rust creators.
Wow.
And even though I never really kept interacting with him, I'm like, I know that guy from when he had 10 viewers.
Yeah,
and that was
really
during
cool.
like an event. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I feel like that's really a big, really something I'm looking forward to. And I know like beats, I guess they're going to be called kicks or something along those lines, are coming.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited for those also. I'm thinking you can really do some creative stuff with those, like subs can be certain things and bits can give you certain things.
Yeah.
And you can kind of make other stuff with them and all that good stuff. So I feel like it's going to be nice for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have anything else. I feel like KCIP and kick picks and features and stuff like that is already so huge that it's like we're on a good spot, and we have a great spot to like grow from. I think biggest like issue I'd say I have with Kick is the image, and we gotta keep on growing towards making the image better.
Yeah.
And that's probably the thing that I want to see the most, and I want Kick to be like transparent on what their efforts are, and I've already seen them like have efforts about them. Andrew Santa Maria was talking with somebody who had like made an article about Kick being bad, and completely changed their mind about the way they think about it, and they came to realize they've only seen the little surface, just a few clips, and like I think. But that's still like that's one person out of how many people who have a bad image about Kick.
Yeah.
And it's like we need the big creators, we need the social medias and all of that, like to really blow up and show that it's not all bad.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100% agree with that. Okay, so last question. What does the future look like for Kick and for Coffee on Kick?
Kick and for Coffee. Okay. Well, we're gonna be pushing more content and we're gonna keep it going. But I've had some great plans, and I'm planning on keeping some secrets. Still, it's gonna be a surprise what's going on. But I'm gonna say that once I move, the streaming setup is gonna get a little bit of an overhaul. We'll see how good of a budget for that I will have.
Yeah.
Starting all the like. Student stuff. We'll see how it all goes, but I have some great plans on. If anybody knows me from back in the day, I used to have some very flashy LED lights everywhere, so maybe we'll have something similar coming back in the future.
Oh, that's cool.
It'll be something special for sure, something unique.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And what about Kick? Where do you see the platform in the future?
I've seen Andrew talk about like very ambitious stuff. I remember there was one stream where he was talking about how Twitch is the biggest on like streaming in the genre that we are in, but Kick is really looking at the Netflixes and YouTubes and Hulus who are like beyond where Twitch is, and trying to like get beyond, like up and beyond from where Twitch is right now. So I do really think that they have very ambitious goals, and I do think they are gonna like get at least to like grow a lot from where they are. I feel like as long as they get their image like cleared, it's gonna be nothing but big growth for them for sure. I'm just sometimes so surprised how widely Kick has spread, because I'll be watching a football game and I realize, wait, Kick is a sponsor for this team.
Yeah.
Or I was watching F1 driving and I was watching the only Finnish F1 driver, and I was like, wait, he's driving for Kick. Kick is an F1 team.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I think that really shows like the ambition that they have, because we're still in the baby steps and we're already this like spread out. And
Yeah.
I feel like even if the like perception of Kick right now on the streaming world is a little bit like mediocre or bad, in the like big general like sponsoring area, and like people who are outside of like live streaming are probably gonna have a really like positive way of thinking about Kick, and I think that's gonna help a lot.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Spot on. Well, that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for being here. I have really enjoyed this. I love my Kick conversations. They're always so much fun. It's so good to get to know a creator properly, that you know that I've spent time in your stream, and we've spoken through chats and things, but I always feel like I really get to know you guys properly doing this, and it's been an absolute joy talking to you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So thank you so much for being a part of it. And guys, if you don't already, fucking fly. Please go and follow Coffee. Honestly, I've said it a lot. You genuinely won't regret it. His vibes are incredible. So I'm gonna say cheerio to Coffee just now, and I'll pop over and we'll find someone to read out to. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
No
I appreciate
problem.
that.
I will see you soon. Lots of loves.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. Oh, well, that was just the most fun ever, guys. That was the most fun